What's up, everybody? What's going on? It's that time again. It's Thursday night. Hello to Jay Lucian, who's in the chat. He came in second with Comics. But hello to One Like Dude, who got here first. And Stug138, what's up? What do I think of Black Panther being white now? I say, ha ha. You know, it's only funny when it's Ginger being replaced. You know, right? Yeah. And here's the dumbest thing about it. The people who are upset are the people who think it's going to be a movie. They don't realize they're talking about a freaking comic book by Joe Quesada and Christopher Priest. So was never talk about the MCU going to have a white Black Panther. Back in the day, they were making fun about having Ryan Gosling, man ups at him. But now it's like, everybody said, even Clownfish TV said this. I think even Yellow Flash, and I wouldn't be surprised if Wes hasn't has that video on it yet. Or when he gets back, he probably will. But the fact that they took the meme and turned it into a reality. Now it's only a legacy character, but I don't think that's we're going to see that character in any other books.
Which they could have only done with a black writer. They wouldn't have let a white guy anywhere near that idea.
Who is the writer for this?
Christopher Priest.
Christopher Priest, that's right.
Who wrote the best run of Black Panther ever going into it. And I've seen enough of it now through 2 lengthy reviews that I'm going to pick it up. It looks worth getting. I mean, the art's fantastic.
The art is fantastic, but I read through it online, and it's just not my cup of tea. I hope you enjoy it. It's also like $7, I think. $7 or $8.
Well, I was a huge fan of the Christopher Priest run, but I know you well enough to know you wouldn't be. So.
I don't like current Christopher Priest.
Well,
because every book he's outside that's not Black Panther has Michael B. Jordan in it. He must insist on it. I won't write a book unless I have a Michael B. Jordan character.
Yeah.
His
Justice League was good about 5 or 6 years ago. I don't like his Vampirella, but
did Cyborg look like Michael B. Jordan?
I don't know. That's
what is the okay? Let me look quickly, see what the price of that book is. Let's see here. The World to Come. It's $6, $5.99. And how many pages is it? 40 pages. As a wraparound cover. It's Joe Quesada coming back, and on the Christopher Priest, and the art is done by Richard Isanove. So, and the cover art is done by Joe Quesada. So it's kind of a click and bait. I mean, the interior is all right. Art is all fine, but Alex Maleev did a variant. Dan Penijan did a variant. David Mag. Yeah, that's pretty much it, But I don't know. It's funny that they got Joe Quesada to come back and do it. I'm wondering how old this book is. That's what I'm wondering.
Well, it can't be that old because the meme's only a couple years old.
Yeah, so I'm wondering how long has it been sitting on the shelf before they decided to release it.
No, so I'm guessing they just did it.
You think so?
Yeah.
I know Marvel likes to sit on crap, and then
if you think, like I said, Joe Quesada was gone from Marvel before that became a meme. And he just came back to do this. So I'm guessing this is a pretty new story.
Wasn't he the editor, the head guy?
He was the head. He was the EIC for years.
Yeah.
So wasn't he the one that set up like each comic was like a 24-hour day?
He did that one. Well, he did a month called Enough Said, but everything was silent. But
really,
like I said, they did a month where there was no dialogue in the comic. It was
I'm sure Stan loved that.
Well, Stan's had been gone for 30 years by then.
No, I'm saying Enough Said. That's usually.
Oh yeah, well, they probably appreciate that, but it was a neat idea because it let it was truly visual storytelling.
Well, I mean, Byrne did that with a 3-issue stretch of Batman. I think it was years ago.
I don't know. Jay Lucia says, Breen, I'm thinking about actually finally sitting down and binge reading Space Ghost. You know what? I might do that to myself, Breen's just been talking about David Pepos, who's been just knocking out the park. The interior art looks good too.
Oh, Jonathan Lyle's tremendous.
And it's decently priced, right around what,
$5.
Yeah. And better than going to Marvel then, paying $5. But like you said, there's no, you went into it not knowing you never really watched the cartoon series. If you did, you don't remember. But I mean, and you enjoyed it, so that's high praise. I think even Wes said he liked it too.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
I have not heard anybody that doesn't.
Yeah. So maybe Jay will be the first. I don't know. But yeah. I will have the speculators going crazy for the first appearance of White Black Panther. More gimmick sales. But what if he's white Irish? You know?
That's gimmick sales. That's pretty much all Marvel is these days.
So he's like Tom Cassidy, he plays Black Irish.
Yeah, that's true. I said, yeah, there may not be any more to get. Because I said that the idiots might come out thinking they've got a valuable book there. Jeff, can you hear Venkman?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not me.
Yeah, I was just gonna come up and ask you the same thing. We can't hear you there, Venk. Still can't.
How about now?
Now,
There
yeah.
you go.
All right,
Can you hear me now?
I'm gonna switch back my Yeti to see if it does it. It's fixed. How about now?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. What's the last thing you heard?
It's been about 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
You started talking like right after I said that Marvel was all gimmicks, and then that's when you started talking and we couldn't hear you.
All right. So I said as far as Marvel being all gimmicks, he said, you heard what I talked about my shop? I said my shop orders a lot. Lately, they've ordered a lot more for certain books. This being one of them. When it comes to, as far as, I guess, when it comes to like more popular books, I mean, I don't think this book will be sold out. Maybe because of the gimmick might be in certain shops, but like the books that have been flying off the shelf every time we get them, it's been Pop Kill. Pop Kill has been selling like crazy. The Jimmy Palmiotti book. So, yeah, I don't know. Marvel and DC, like, I don't think this will be a big gimmick when Captain America was shot and everybody had a quick rush to try to get a copy. I don't think it'll be that big of a gimmick. I think speculators online might be trying to hawk them for $50 or $20, whatever. But I don't think that it's gonna last that long. The hype. I think it'll be within a week. I think the next issue will be will be the first full appearance, the 181, and then that'll be the one that the people want.
I think it'd be the complete opposite. I don't think about care by then.
Yeah, who knows?
And if I can't get one, I'm not gonna bother because I said I don't. There's nothing in Marvel other than Ultimate Spider-Man that I care at all if I miss.
Well, apparently they don't want me to talk, so I'll just sit here and just stare at them awkwardly.
You appear to be beloved.
I know they're talking about me in the chat a lot. Not good things, but they're still talking about me. That's
remember what they said. First rule of publicity: it doesn't matter if it's good press or bad press, as long as you spell your name right.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay then. All right then. Well, you guys want to see comic books? I did get a box in from a little short box, from not the short box, long box. I got a smaller, like a Miller's box, and from the auction. So I got back issues. All right then. So who wants to go first?
Why break tradition? Oh, by the way, is Birthday Boy going to be here later?
I don't know. He might be on vacation, as far as I know. I don't know. I think he's too concerned about what's going on with Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
But it's like a breakup, and they'll be fine probably in 2 weeks.
Honestly, I don't think it's even a breakup. I think it's just a ploy.
You think it's a work?
Yeah, I think it's a work, man. I wouldn't be surprised to get that Tesla brand back up.
Well, yes, somebody speculated that it's a work to tank the bill, which, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm sure does have too much pork in it, but
What
we're not here to talk about that.
Another person said is we get the Epstein list.
That way, now that maybe was, that's how I know that. So when you have a messy breakup, you say the most cruel things you can say to each other. Where Trump said, we could save billions by canceling his contracts. He said Trump's in the Epstein files. They're really going at each other hard.
I will just say one thing. Trump said on air yesterday, he said that Elon was mad because he wouldn't appoint a Democrat at the head of NASA.
Well, there's also the end of the EV mandate. So
That's
anyway, like I said,
we also knew that there was already talk of him flying Epstein, and he never went without him, but he'd been on the plane. But
he's been on the plane, but he didn't go to Epstein Island. He went from like New Jersey to like Key Largo, or something like that. Anyway, all right, then I guess we'll get going. Just talking about books. All righty then. Not many new books this week for me. I did get in Vampires Carmilla. That's about a month old. It says, we're supposed to have 27 now. But this was pushed back about a month
or two.
Well, it says covered in May, so maybe this come out like the month before, sort of April. But it feels that way. It's been long, but honestly, the art in these books is just, I love this. It's these books, and then when it goes to Savage Sword of Conan, the art of them is just great. So, and I'm just a great way to showcase a lot of independent artists that probably don't get a lot of recognition. So, it also shows you how many books have been out too. So we're getting up there. The only thing that sucks is I was talking to my shop guy in both shops. They said unfortunately these are coming through Diamond. And there's nothing they can really do about them. They can't really order them through Lunar and stuff. It's the same. It's the same. They get them when they get them. But I do recognize or saw this. They do offer subscriptions in the back there, so you can actually go online and you can actually it's gonna zoom in or not. Yeah, I probably won't zoom in. There he goes. So you can order online.
Yeah,
I might do that.
I get too good of a discount to.
Yeah, I get a 20% discount. That's all I get.
Yeah, so I mean, mine obviously is better than that, or I would do the same thing. Yeah. Same thing with the Tomorrow stuff.
Right. And then, as always, I always get The Walking Dead when it comes out. So, this is the cover, but this is the original cover on the back here.
Go to sleep, sweetie.
So. Yeah, this is issue 114. And as always, it's in color and everything. So now we get to see the tiger eating people in color. Look, he's more active than Lump. Or she.
Lump can't decide whether she wants to sleep or lick herself, so she's kind of in a quandary.
I knew a girl like that. Surprised Jeff didn't make that joke.
I was gonna. No, never mind.
She's got the tiniest mouth until she yawns, and I swear to God, you could put a softball in there.
I told you, like a freaking lion.
They are.
No.
Well, without the roar.
Right.
They don't even make a noise when they yawn.
No, they don't. They're not like humans go, weird noise. All right. Other books that came out this week, was we talked about the other day. It was a Cinescope 20th anniversary cover gallery. I decided to get all 3 covers because they're pretty much cheap with my discount. Then I got the other one too. So I figured, why not? and it's got some actually really good covers on the inside. So it starts off with the El Rio cover. A lot of cheesecake, and it tells you what cover it's from. The comic book, Salem's Daughters. It's
remember that one.
I don't remember that one either, but I'm gonna check it out. That was from 2009.
I like the one in the red.
That's Greg Horn cover. Yeah. So a lot of cool little art here too.
Yeah, Greg Horn did all the Emma Frost covers from the early 2000s.
Right.
That's one thing about Zenescope is their art in those books are always just exceptional. Just incredible stuff.
Yep. So. Yep. Ivan Tall art in there too, and there's a few other things, artists in there. But alrighty though. Number 7. I only have 7 new books of the week. I mean, I don't really count those are books from this week, but I don't really count them in like the various comics. So they're just cover stuff. But number 7 for this week is Teenage Turtles with Naruto or Naruto. For those who get triggered. This is the last chapter, issue 4. I had to reread the series because there was a delay and for me getting the issues, and pretty much they took the Ninja Turtles and put them into the Naruto universe. So basically, they never were in New York. They live in a village called Big Apple Village, which has a sewer system in the feudal Japan era. Really weird. We get to see Naruto being the main star in this book because he is, because the turtles are just there. Shredder is the big bad, villain with the Foot Clan. He's taken some mutagen that he got from the lair of the turtles and pretty much turned him into like a monster, or the Kevin Nash version. I prefer that. And they just team up and they just kick the crap out of him, and that's kind of how it is. It's kind of disappointing. It would have been much better if they actually were from the modern day New York and went into the portal and wound up there. But because that's how they always end the cliche books. It always ends with a pizza party. Do you remember this? They did this with the freaking Batman crossover. Pizza party in the cave. Now it's a pizza party with the Naruto and a black April O'Neil, who basically is useless in this. And somehow has a video camera. Yeah. Like I said, it's okay for a crossover if you really like Naruto, but for Ninja Turtle fan, it just fell flat for me.
Hey, so just in case you're wondering, that was just a ruse to let my guard down so she could start chewing the wires.
I think she just wants to watch The Wire, bro. All right. Number 6. Scorch, number 41. I can't believe this series is actually going on that long. I thought it would have been canceled, but apparently this is Image is one of their ongoing books that they are really liking and sells. Basically, at the end of the last issue, we basically had everyone pretty much, except for John of Arc, who's basically like the medieval Spawn and She Spawn, are the only 2 left on the team. Everyone walked and left away, left the band of the team. So it's basically like the Avengers assembled in that sense. But we get to see Viscerator. She's the only sister of all the other, like, pretty much characters, like Violator. Violator was the one from the Spawn movie, Big Bang. She's like the younger sister. So basically, she's back in hell after being defeated by the Spawn Avengers, and she wants this whatever's inside this cocoon here, or like, what the hell is this? An Iron Maiden thing, and it's revealed. And then we get the revealing of her first appearance of basically her siblings. So we have Vindicator, Vandalizer, Vaporizer. I know Vaporizer. Like, what? Does it come with wicks? Then we have Vacillator. So so they pretty much take down the bad guy, gets eaten, torn apart. She releases, it's Frank Bishop is in there. And if you've been following the story, you know who Frank Bishop is. And overall, it's just basically this issue towards the end here is just She-Spawn saying, "Let down the medieval. You need to freaking let your human vessel Mark come out because it's like talking to the Hulk. The Hulk doesn't want Bruce Banner. Says fuck Bruce Banner. I'm the Hulk now." Then she's like shows him, I need pretty much the Bruce Banner version of you to come back out. He does all our tech work, all our computer stuff, and she says like you don't know any of that. So at the end, he ends up letting Mark come out and realize he left a note saying he had a mistake. Meanwhile, the rest of the team who abandoned her are being hunted down by viscerators, pretty much, demons, because they want revenge. But overall, it's been a pretty good series so far lately. It comes and goes in spurts as far as quality. It's kind of like a right above average, and then sometimes it spikes and gets really good. But yeah, I guess it's I don't know. I'm trying to compare it to Avengers, but then again, it's like it's not as. To me, it's kind of like the low peak when Avengers needed to be rebooted. That's where it is kind of right now. It's just slightly better than that, but it's starting to slowly get better. And it's John Layman doing the writing. Steven Segovia, his art here is, like I said, it's just fun. I love it. So pretty good book. All right, top 5 ready. What? Yeah. Top 5 this week. And it is JSA is number 5. A fun story for those who are pissed off that they killed off Wildcat. So they're going getting a throwback kind of story. Right, the retro style kind of art. And it's back in 1945 in Berlin. They're teaming up with the unnamed soldier to take on Nazis and some
Unknown.
other. Well, unknown, unnamed. They don't know who he is either. What his name was, but just felt like a classic story, and kind of doesn't really retcon anything. It's just a story that we never heard of before, and I don't think it doesn't even tie into anything to the new stuff. I don't think it does. It's just basically they're trying to stop the villains from getting the Spear of Destiny, and then stopping from using it. And you get to see, like I said, like basically the Injustice Gang. What were they called again?
Injustice Society, I think.
Society, yeah. At the end, Dr. Fate just comes in and kicks everybody's ass, pretty much. Fun book, like I said. It just felt like we were trying to distraction, like kind of like what's coming for the next issue after this. Issue. I think it's gonna be issue 9. I hope it's good, because if this one turns out being better than issue 9, that's a problem for the series. Yeah, because honestly, that's what I want. That felt like a classic JSA book. All right. Solomon Kane in the Serpent Society, or I guess we call it the Serpent Ring. Issue 3, Patrick Zurcher cover. Patrick Zurcher does the interior art too, as well. He does the store. He's a writer artist, and then we have 2 different colorists because Patrick Zurcher also does coloring in here too, but he also has Pete Pantaziz, and then we have 2 letterers as well, Richard Starkings and in Comic Crafts Tyler Smith. So basically, they're in Africa right now, and they're on the hunt of looking for the serpent ring thing. So the first thing that pops in my mind when I see a boat like this, Anaconda. Right now, and they're on the hunt of looking. Oh. Can you hear me now? And like I said, just beautiful art. If you never read anything with Patrick Zurcher doing the art and stuff, or doing the storytelling, this is great. Now, some people might complain it feels like a spinoff of Conan. It's been years after the Hyborian. They even mentioned the Hyborian age. They said this ring is so old, it's from like that, And the Serpent God set pretty much doesn't want any humans touching the ring whatsoever. They revealed that basically she's Lilith. She's Adam's first wife, who was made from clay. Before there was Eve, there was Lilith, and she lied with the serpent, and that's how all the demons stuff. And she also had sex with the archangel. I forgot what his name was. I think it was she coupled with serpent and with the archangel Samuel, the destroyer and the seducer, and they don't hold back. They're kind of hinting that maybe the Garden of Eden was in Africa. But meanwhile, we got these got the girl who's a daughter of the guy he's basically sworn to protect and helping, the brother of the guy he killed on the ship, and he swore an oath to protect both of them and help them find the serpent ring thing, and is basically because some will have their own desires, what they want to do. They left Italy, and along the way, she's starting to get the hots for Solomon Kane. Solomon Kane first comes across an elephant. That was kind of hilarious because I was like, he's like, what the hell is this beast? He's like, and then you realize, oh, it's an elf. She's like, it's an elephant. Oh, because he doesn't know what an elephant is, and it's like docile creature. Yeah, we got these two villains in here, pretty much Oliver Queen and another scoundrel too, and they're both seeking after fame. The guy on the bottom left wants the ring so he can take over the New Americas, and become the king or emperor. The other guy just wants to get laid and get a lot of gold. And along the way, they pretty much have a thing for the young woman. So basically, it's basically Solomon Kane gives her a gun and says, "Protect yourself at night." And along the way, they're also accompanied by this priest who'd been on a missionary. Turns out the priest wasn't really who he set out to be. He was like a snake person, shapeshifter. And Solomon Kane, while they're in camp one night, he basically just takes out the two guys, intruders, double barrel guns. And you see the priest turning into like a snake person as he worships Set. And of course, Solomon Kane.
The priest that's the bad guy, always.
Well, there's such thing as false prophets. Yeah, but that's and the thing though, it was not the real
where you
priest.
think you're making money, but you're actually not.
Right. So the priest wasn't even really a priest though. The priest had been died, and this had been replaced. This isn't the original guy. He'd been replaced by Set's followers. So that's what it is. So he ends up getting in order to protect the girl, Solomon Kane gets bit, and then the snake that she shoots it pretty much turns into a staff, mocking. He says, "Surf resembles a staff, mocking Moses, the lawgiver," and they end up pretty much leaving him behind with some supply stuff, and they venture on without him. And as they go on, the guy does try to come in and talk to her, and she pulls a gun on him. He leaves her alone. And then we're left with basically with Solomon Kane saying like, "Shit, I've been through this shit before. They left me to die. They better fucking pray I don't come up to them." So it's getting better by each issue. All right, number 3. It's Justice League versus King Kong 2. A lot of good action here too. Something that really was really great here too. I was so glad when it happened. Bree knows what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
Well, let's just say something happened to somebody in here. Did you read that? You read this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end events of the last story, we have Task Force X, and we also have Legion of Doom and Lex Luthor are now basically working for Amanda Waller.
Right.
And so she's talking about how she's in charge of everything. Rick Flag says, "No, you're not." And so that's going on with them. They're arguing. Meanwhile, Barry's getting married to Iris, but he still hasn't told her that he's the Flash. And and Hal is upset with them. He says, reveals the Batman or Bruce. He says, the bet is pretty much if I reveal my secret identity to Carol first, the winner gets to reveal the other's secret identity. And the only people who really get to go to the parade, the wedding ceremony, is Clark, because Clark knows him as Barry. Not that many people know Barry in his secret identity, so they make it less suspicious. Then they do their own experiment to make. They're trying to fool around with the technology had before. They're gonna make. They're on not Skull Island, but they're on. I don't think they're on. Says Cape Town Stadium, South Africa, 4 years later after G-Day, and they're gonna make King Shark into a giant, and of course this is gonna attract Godzilla. But meanwhile, we got the Justice League team. Like, they tracked Lex Luthor's signal to this base here, and they're looking for it, and they oh, there's a portal here, and it's used. Someone has LexCorp technology stuff. So they're like, oh, let's go through it. Kind of not logical, but we see King Shark becoming actual King Shark, and because of this, the problem when they make him into a Titan, he loses his memory and becomes more beast than human. And then, of course, he goes up against Godzilla. Meanwhile, because they went through the portal, the Batwing turned pretty much into a Batbot with the gun, which I thought was interesting. And they get attacked by some monsters. Meanwhile, we get Godzilla fighting against King Shark again. Yeah, and King Shark ends up getting knocked down by Godzilla and reverts back to his normal self. Meanwhile, Justice League run into King Kong, who's upset and doesn't remember that Supergirl at all. And then it kind of ends with a really cool page here. I love this. You get Amanda Wallace says, "I'm talking to you, Colonel. Why are they here? Why are these people here? And why are the Justice League there?" And he's like, "I'm the one to be trifled with." He's like, "Better man of trifled," and Rick Flag just fucking shoots her in the gut instantly. And so it ends with pretty much her dead. Something I've been waiting for a long time with the recent events of just Amanda Waller being everywhere and being the villain and always getting away with it. So if this is her demise, even if it's just in this little mini series, I'm happy for it because Rick Flag deserves better. So, and here's Zach.
Hi.
Is that even canon?
No.
Okay.
You think Justice League governs Godzilla? King Kong is canon?
I was thinking it wasn't. That's why you were saying that.
It is to me.
I'm just saying what happens to Amanda Waller. I just been pent up with frustration with her character and the storylines I've been doing for the past few years. I'm glad that she finally got her just desserts.
I treat it as canon.
Yes. But it's not a canon film. There's no Chuck Norris. Number 2. Teen Titans Go. Very fun series, pretty much. It's what you see on the cover here. They get fan mail that was actually meant for the Justice League, and they end up going against Amazo, the robot. And pretty much Raven's against them reading the league's mail, but then they all get into it. And I know Amy would love this too. But no. So basically Amazo comes in here. He's like, dude, you're not the Teen Titans. He's like, what the hell? I can't use your powers. He's like, oh, we're the Teen Titans. He's like, okay. So then he's like, give me a second to recalibrate my programming. And then he pretty much takes on their powers. Not only that, though, he absorbs their personalities, so he becomes as useless as the Teen Titans are. Like, and his weakness is pizza and complimenting Starfire on her outfit and watching Pretty Pegasus. And just yeah, it's right up their alley. And Charlotte Fish knocks out of the park again. And this is also what's her name? Agnes Garbowska. Yeah, doing the art here too and everything. So I thought it was a really fun story. And so if you enjoy the stuff we read on Mondays, it's the exact same humor. and it just does not miss a beat. But the number one book for me this week is Popkill. Just a fun, absolute, just awesome ending. No, Zach, have you read this series at all?
I have not.
It's only 4 issues, and it's worth it. It's worth every single penny. And Brian, can you tell me where Fork is?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. Just this opening gambit here. He just drives the truck in there, and then he just detonates it, explodes it, and he just works his way up to like the building to get to the girl, and it's just high octane action, and just overkill, taking out the bad guys, and the guys and security teams like, okay, we got this, we got to. He's like, we got to spread out. We got to, we're too bunched up. And then like, he throws a soda pack. They're like, why is there a 6-pack of cola there? And turns out it's actually grenades. it's not soda. It's just, I would love to see this as a movie. Rescues the girl, and pretty much they decide to leave, and he reveals that he actually likes her. He decides what they're gonna do is they're gonna take their the formula, her stuff, and they're gonna sell it to Prime Color or whatever it is, and they're gonna like Prime Pop says they'll give us like they'll be able to be like really like billionaires and all that stuff. But of course they're led to a trap at his cabin. One of the guys who's working as a mole for him, and they're knocked out. They're tied up, and they torch the guy and pretty much kill him by giving him Prime Pop, shaking it up. So he chokes on the fizz, dies.
What a way to go.
I know, right? Soda. Diabetes. It's not no joke. The bad guys pretty much kick him over. They're going to kill him. But then, of course, the other brother who comes in, and they have a freaking sword fight and everything. He chops a dude's head off. It is just crazy. And then they're talking about, brother, kill me now. And he's like, I don't want to smell your stinky breath anymore. Kill me. And then they're like, what the hell? She stabbed him in the back with the other guy's sword. And then they get pushed out the window. It was already cracked. And like,
yeah, she runs both of them through.
Yeah, with
shish kebab style.
Yep. I love this. And I love how he says, he's like, and in the back, he's like, she obviously brought two strange brothers back together for eternity, and he kicks them out the window.
And may I?
Go ahead.
Look, Zach, it's even on the page.
And I love she says, like, together for eternity? Man, that fell flat.
Wow.
He's like,
that was good.
Yeah. And
that was good.
And leaves to them with reading the Daily Globe. And she's topless and on the beach, and they're obviously together, and they're rich. And they drink some Prime or Pop, what are we called? Soda. Prime Pop. Pretty much, happy ending for them.
See, yep, you got your happy ending.
Exactly. Happy ending. The bad guys get run through. Fun series, 4 issues. Better than a lot of anything that's come out from Marvel in the past 4 years. Even DC, some of the stuff, man. But
that was pretty good. I said that's.
I give Jimmy Palmiotti credit when he writes something good.
He's a good writer. I mean, most of what he does is good.
Yeah.
I said he co-wrote that Jonah Hex.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Omnibus comes out in October, I think.
Yeah, I don't know why he doesn't work with Justin Gray. I don't know if Justin Gray has moved on or if he's even still in comics.
Maybe Justin Gray's conservative now. Who knows?
Well, no, it's just. Well, I mean, like we knew that Abnett and Lanning don't get along anymore. No. That's why they don't work together.
You mean they're like Eastman and Laird? Yeah. But all right, so I'll quickly go through some of the back issues that I picked up. Because I have this much from I got from E. I'll wait for that towards the end.
Oh, Lord.
I know, right? Well, that's from the auction I bought. So this is what I bought yesterday for myself. Starting it off real quickly, we're gonna go with the new Millie, the model 55. Hey, the music over. Not for us, it isn't. Huh.
Do you know who that is? Dancing with Millie?
Peter Parker.
No.
It's not Scooter.
Clicker.
Uh,
He's a photographer.
oh,
Clicker.
like Peter Parker.
That's her boyfriend.
That's the first thing I thought. I was like, looked at him. He's like, he's got the Peter Parker outfit kind of going there.
Jay, I'm assuming that's because there's no such thing as a sarcasm font.
And then we got Millie Model 173. So
That's Shaggy?
no, that's Handicap,
Looks like Shaggy, but
and that's Zach on the left.
no, that's not me. I don't wear a vest.
All right, 176. The redhead reminds you of Debbie. The one who had her own little through DC.
Well, that's Chili, and she got her own book too.
Oh, nice.
At one point. And guess what Marvel did with her when they brought her back in 2010?
Made her gay.
Not only gay, I mean, she was.
Oh man.
There's a miniseries called Models. It was Millie, Chili, Mary Jane, and I can't remember who the fourth one was. And yeah, Chili was, anything with a snatch, she was going after.
The model here, 188.
Which was in reverse, is ridiculous as what they did with Bobby Drake, because Chili was always trying to steal any man Millie would come in contact with.
Hey, Clicker, you forgot your camera. Guy can't remember everything.
Hmm.
And we got Detective Comics 384. Help, she's coming after us. Save us, Batman. She's too tough for us. She's a fighting terror. Who is the mysterious she?
Cassandra Cain.
I don't think that's too early for Cassandra Cain.
Might about 27 years.
Yeah.
You know. Sliding time scale.
Then we got this one here. Detective Comics here.
It's me.
Man, these are from a couple years ago at 15 cents.
These are before your time, Geekeasy?
I'm a 69 model, so I doubt it.
No, that's
I want to call you a model.
That one's not. That one you'd already been born.
Enemy Ace.
Now I'm assuming you got these because of the Batgirl backups.
Of course. I told you last night. Yeah. Anytime it has a girl with Batman on the cover or in a story, I'm gonna pick it up.
So did you pass on some detectives with Robin, or
the only one I had with Robin I might go back for is the one where he's hanging there. The many deaths of Robin was.
Well, I mean, it's not saying that because Robin was also a backup feature in Detective.
Well, no, I don't pay. I don't. If I'm only getting the ones that has Batgirl on the title or it says a backup feature. I don't really care for the Robin ones. Yeah, so I probably did. They weren't in this time in the stack he had, but
That was some low hanging fruit there, Geekeasy. I expect better.
Yeah, true. I'll have to.
Can you guess the new costume?
Is it the hot pants one?
I'll try and do better next time. I have no good.
I mean, I would like the one on the far right there, but it's gonna be the one. It's probably the one in her hand. So it has a headband.
It's probably the pantsuit.
We don't know.
The Hillary Clinton look before it's time.
Well, here we get to the I Love My Cousin. We get Superman's romance with the Supergirl's double.
No!
Superman
the Alabama issue.
Yep.
No, they did an issue early in the adventure run where Supergirl is telling Superman about her new boyfriend. He goes, "Enjoy your new romance, Supergirl, but you'll be sorry," because it turned out that it was a girl pretending to be a boy. Oh, how times have changed,
Indeed.
especially in light of what came out this week from DC.
Oh my gosh, I flipped through the DC Pride thing. Ugh. There's they had a Powell Midnighter story in there, where
That's the only time of year DC remembers they have Apollo at midnight.
So listen to Zach. Everyone in that city was gay. The neighbors, 2 women with a child and a dog, 2 guys. And everyone like there was not a straight couple in sight. The only one that came up was a guy who said, "Oh, you gay people are the problem. Or you queers of society." Blah blah. Give him the gun. And he goes to pull the gun on Midnighter, and it turns into daisies.
So this was what, Gay City?
And did you see where the bad guys went to their clanual meeting?
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, I just watched.
I was looking to see. Go ahead.
I just watched Josh McDonald spend 20 minutes trashing that book.
I went through it to see. I'm like, wonder if Joe has any stories in this or anything like that.
No, he doesn't, because he's a good writer.
The most powerful woman in Batman's life? Who is it?
But I guess my point is, if a guy who's, a guy just happens to be gay, I mean, because like being gay is not Josh's personality.
Right.
It's just.
I didn't know he was gay until like months later. He said it on screen.
If he hates it, just how gay do you have to be to like that?
Yeah.
Right.
What kind of gays are they going for? And I know the answer. It's the ones that hate everything.
I was wondering what you're eating. Are you eating little chicken bones?
Yeah, I'm going back for the little ends. I'm not letting any of this food go to waste. I hadn't eaten since 3:00 today. Before I went to the gym, and so I'm starving.
All right.
Are those like little ribs or?
No, they're little drumlets, little chicken drumlets. I air fried them with some ranch seasoning and some paprika.
Give me some ranch seasoning on these little chicken fingers.
Is that how you pronounce that in Louisiana?
Ranch.
No.
Ranch.
I thought it was paprika.
Paprika. I mean, I've heard of those.
Isn't that paprika in that hot?
They bless the rains down in paprika.
But isn't paprika also the name of that actress that's gonna be with John Cena coming up?
It's the name of the little child of Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper on Blue's Clues.
I know, but all right. Who wants to go
next? Doesn't make any sense at all because salt and pepper don't make paprika.
Zach is eating right now. Who wants to go next?
Jeff,
I'm on it.
Give Zach time to clean his fingers.
That's what she said.
So he doesn't mess up his comment.
Yeah,
wait. You talked about my low-hanging fruit earlier today. No.
That was a good one, though. Yeah. That was a good one.
Why is he talking about your junk?
What?
Who said fruit? Junk?
Who said junk? I said that's what she said.
Okay. I've got 9 with a couple of back issues. Number 9. Always dead. Huh?
Eh?
Green Lantern Absolute Green Lantern number 3. I got about halfway through it. I'm going to work on it a little bit later. And I really don't know why I keep getting this. I just realized that I'm getting like every other issue. Just I'll read one and say I'm going to stop getting it, and then the next time it comes out, I'm like, oh, I need to get this. And,
I know why you keep getting it, because that's your personality. You do that with every book.
Yeah, because I'm an idiot.
I didn't say it.
Yeah.
Well,
knowing is half the battle.
I'm self-aware. Yeah, that's what the Joes, when the Joes tell you, that's one thing I know from the Joes is knowing is half the battle. Number 7, Endless Night. I picked this up thinking it was something else, but it is a continuation from a miniseries I got earlier. It's in Exit City.
Exit City.
It's an island built off the coast of America. It's like this ultra, capitalistic society. They've got this, all science and stuff like that. The government is corrupt, and there are 2 main cops. One is really dirty. One's not as dirty.
They should take a shower.
And so it's a second series on this. It's not that bad.
She said.
Yeah.
That wasn't as good. That's what she said.
Okay, number 6. Be Not Afraid. Number 1. Another blind buy, and I'm not going to be getting number 2.
Oof.
It's a horror book, so I usually try and pick up the first horror books and stuff. Do we know who Jude Ellison is?
No, but
Nope.
with all those blind buys you're getting and you're regretting them, you might want to get your glasses checked.
Well, see, I did get my eyes checked. I had my eyes done, my a test done about a month or so ago. There was a slight change in my prescription, and I am waiting for the VA to send the voucher to the place that has my glasses sitting there. And I have to keep calling. The last time I tried to call these people, there was like 30 people ahead of me on the phone, and I'm just like, no, I'm not going to do it. So, it's the VA.
I would just drive to the VA.
So, what was that? Was that 6? Okay, 5.
I can't count.
This it is integrating Miles Morales back into the Ultimates universe and how he got in there.
Chased after the babysitter or something like that, and then
No, he was babysitting his sister, and he got sucked into a vortex, and so he's in there. He's out there, and he runs across Peter and Peter's son. And
these Ziegler book, bro.
pretty good. They're going. They come across the new. What is his name? The Hole or whatever his name is.
It's called Spot. He's not new. That's just Spot from this universe.
From our universe.
No, I think he's a different one. He's
from the same one as Peter is.
Yeah. He's from
and what's funny about this, have Miles going to get Spot. Gee, this sounds like Into the Spider-Verse again.
You said it like it's a bad thing. That was a
no, I understand. It just sounds like they're out of ideas. So they go like, "Hey, let's steal Sony ideas."
And it's kind of funny. They he calls what is Peter's son? Is it
Richard?
Richard.
Yes.
He calls Richard Venom.
No, Miles thought that Richard was Venom, and Richard was like, "I really like that name."
Yeah, so he's debating on whether to give to differentiate himself.
What did I say? Let's not let the people write Hickman books because they introduce stuff like Venom, which nobody wants.
And they all three of them team up on him, and the whole time they're going through, and while they're fighting, they're going and peeking through into different apartments' windows so they can try and find his sister. And people are calling him a bunch of peeping toms. Then you get a big thing with
peeping spiders.
Then you get the people wanting to get the Spot technology back from him so they can do stuff, and then you have the Avengers.
Gee, that was also in the Spider-Verse thing.
There were no Avengers in the Spider-Verse.
No, but the technology for Spot, his origin story in that. Like I said, it's just taking from something else.
One sec, dude. That's an awesome movie, by the way.
It's a good movie. I'm just saying. I just wish.
No. I'm talking Adventures in Babysitting.
Yeah, that is a good movie.
Yeah.
That is a very good movie.
I am absolutely in love with
Vincent D'Onofrio, like a very young Vincent D'Onofrio.
Elizabeth Shue, bro.
Yeah, that's what I said. I've been in love with her for years, and this was him before Full Metal Jacket, so he had to gain all that weight for that, and
yeah.
Okay, so number 4, jump scare number 4, which completes the series. Did I ever go over this with you guys?
You might have. I can't recall.
But it's there was this like kind of a evil dimension entity that came over and took over the world, and they stopped it. And there's certain people who have like these powers now, and we have the titular character is a woman. She calls her Jump Scare. She's a hero and fights against the bad guys, and she has the power to like teleport and stuff like that. And she's also like really violent. And what she does is she's a horror fan, so she'll teleport, different items from different horror movies and use that to beat up on the bad guys.
Sounds like a trollop. All those horror movies.
And her family is just like really religious. People may disown her. Then the bad guys go after her and kidnap her sister to do whatever to control them, and so she has to go after her sister and save her sister from fighting the bad guys. It's pretty good. That was the fourth one, and they're setting it up for another series. The artwork it's not super great, but it's not bad. It's about mid.
What did you say it was?
It's art.
What did you say it was, Jeff?
Mid.
Oh, it's mid? I had no idea.
Yeah. Then number 3, The Slasher's Apprentice #2 by Madkin.
Slasher's Apprentice?
Yes.
Jason taking on a new apprentice?
This is a really kind of cool book. There is this young girl here. She does like a I don't know if she's a vlogger or something like that, but she's really into superheroes, true crime, not superheroes, but serial killers and slashers, serial killers. And she does some investigating. And this guy is like legendary. He's been doing it for like 30 years and never been caught. And she knows all about him. And she was doing some investigating, and he's come back into the public, and she finally catches up with him at the end of the last book and says, I want to be your apprentice. And so this one, she actually convinces him to let her come on as her apprentice, as his apprentice. And so he's taking her out and teaching her how to be a serial killer slasher. It's pretty good.
Being the professional.
Yes. And then number 2, I'm probably going to get a little bit of heat for this.
No, you won't get any heat.
But Heat Seeker Exposed, #1.
Oh, it's a pun. I do like is it the cosplay cover?
Huh?
Was that the cosplay cover you had up?
No, it's actually, this is...
Okay. It kind of looks like the girl who does the cosplay for it, Gracie Jones.
That is
this is really good. I mean, they bring up the fact that she is,
Okay.
But in the last thing, she had to, I guess, a bunch of criminals' files were downloaded and all that stuff. They had to stop that from happening. But it still got compromised. And so there is a online like blogger, reporter who gets the information. She goes by Bitch with a Bone. And finds out this girl's name, and so Gun Honey says, hey, we need to, you've been exposed, get out of here.
Did they scissor?
No, but they
Not yet.
They eventually catch up to each other. They want to meet up.
And scissor.
No, I don't think that's, but
that's how it is. All those Gun Honey books, whoever they're enemies, at the end they have sex.
Yeah. But they actually have them. They want to meet up and find out what she wants, and so Heat Seeker is like, okay, I don't want you to record any of this stuff, so take all your clothes off. So one of them standing on the beach, like completely naked, and one of them suggests to team up, but they don't. So she says no, and she gets exposed. So now there's it's on the news. She gets, exposed, and the world is coming. She's wanted by everything. So all the news is coming out saying, "We need her."
It would have been cooler if she would have said like, "Okay, I need to get naked." Why? And then at the end, she's like, "I just wanted to see you naked."
No, well, yeah, well. Yeah. I'm sure at some point they will both be naked and scissoring, but you know.
It's just sad that that's become of that book. They're like the original book, Gun Honey, was really good, but then
this isn't Gun Honey. This is
I know. Like then he's like, this is like Greg Rucka. if he decided to write Heat Seekers, it just feels like that. Everyone's a lesbian.
Number 1.
Ooh, Carby.
Great series. And so that is my new stuff this week. Well, I guess this could be, parentheses 10. I did pick this up. I don't consider this a, it's new, but it's not.
Oh, the facsimile?
Yeah, the facsimile.
Do you not have the trade or the individual issues?
Yes, I do have the trade. I don't know if I have the individuals, but I've been getting them.
Might as well. If you don't have the individuals, it's the best way to get them.
And I love Grimm's Tales of Terror. And they usually get them in the store, but they haven't been. So I said, order me some. So they got me 1 and 2.
Nice.
And so I love these. Do you ever read these?
The annuals usually do.
Just what thing I said, the art in this stuff is just incredible.
Oh, that's what I'm bagging up right now. Is the one from this week was the anniversary cover collection.
And so I got that, and then I don't know if you remember, I was getting the Mark Spears Monsters.
Yeah,
and I didn't get number 2. Got number 2 in. I bought it off eBay.
Yeah, I read the story, but like, I don't want to bother to hunt down the rest of them, and the art was kind of stiff.
So I love the art, but I have.
He's a pinup artist the most, but it feels like he's using AI assistant or computer.
I have 0, 2 issues of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I have everything now. So I told him I want to pull it. I don't have that many on my pull list because I'm able to go in every day when they open. I'm in every week when they open.
Yeah, I do notice that me and Brandon were talking about. It's like you get a lot of books that we don't get. Like they just ship all like the miscellaneous books to Alaska, and then we don't get those books. It's like
gotta unload this shit somewhere. Let's send them up there. Yeah.
Like, oh crap, we were supposed to send them somewhere. Oh well, the diamond, everything. So, alrighty then.
I'm going to that shop for this. The only one. I think we have one in Fairbanks, which is like a 6 or 7 hour drive. But other than that, there's one. They have another branch in across town, but they don't sell comics. They just do all the other stuff. But so it's about like 2 or 3 blocks from my house, so I can leave at 11:55 and get to there by 12 when they open up. But I'm usually there a few minutes early.
Hey, that's pretty close. Like I said, mine I have to leave around 10:30, and then they open at 11. So I gotta like drive, and then of course I hit every single traffic light and then you're going past them all.
So and of course it's go up half block down, go up like 2 blocks, then another half block.
Yeah.
Of course I drive because
Yeah.
Why not?
Alrighty then.
So anyway,
Mr. Binks, are you ready?
I was born ready.
You were born Binks ready.
I got books that nobody here has talked about, and so it'll be fresh.
But before we get to that, I gotta ask, what do you think of the photo I did for you for birthday?
I forgot that I showed you photos of me, and I regret everything.
It's on Facebook. I took your main photo and then your header.
Yep, I know.
It looks
like I wish I was
out
on
of a
it.
computer or something like that.
Wait, say what?
It looks like you were just passed out of some computer or something like that.
No, that was me sleeping on a hammock. I have a hammock out here on my front porch.
Yeah, so I just
that was me taking a nap on that.
Yeah, his header is a photo from when he was at the beach on vacation. So I just took that and
Can you show it to the crowd here?
I posted on Twitter and on Tweety Post.
You might as well.
All right.
Jeremy probably doesn't go looking at
Header.
the group chat or Jackson. Maybe Jackson did. He says he can't unsee it. So
A
it's
lot.
not that bad of a picture.
I saw it.
Rhaegar said you look like this comedian, but I'm like, I looked at it, it's like, I can see in the face, but I'm like, I forget what he said. But he's like, but I said, Zach's not that fat.
Not anymore. Or
No, he's
I still
slimmed
kind
down.
of am.
Oh,
I'm less than I was.
Speaking of fat, I've as of today, I'm down 113 pounds.
Yo,
230,
awesome, dude.
237 even this morning. So I have about 40 more pounds to go until I want to get to the point.
Wait, 200 and what? 247?
237.
There you
Man,
go.
I'm jealous. I'm at
I need to get to two. If I lose 40 pounds, I'll be right. Yeah.
I'm at 265 right now.
But look at that beautiful photo. Everything. It looks
That's
like you.
not a bad photo op.
It looks like you were just on the beach.
That's not a bad photo op.
Did you say you're 265?
265.
And how tall are you?
6'2".
Okay.
And I've also built a lot of muscle up recently too. So I think
I'm about 5'8". So
you gotta start doing these things shirtless. So you can just
Not a Gilkin classic.
No.
Hey, you guys are lucky. About like came on and everything. I was sitting in front of the computer, then I realized that I didn't have my shirt on. So about like 2 or 3 minutes before we went on, I actually grabbed his shirt and put it on.
Here's the thing though, Geekeasy. Whenever you come in the back room there, your camera's always on. So I was here when your camera was on. So if you're gonna do that, please, for the love of God, disable the camera before you go. Or you just put a shirt on.
I was like, holy cow! And I didn't realize you could see me, or else I wouldn't have.
I can always see you. Always watching.
Okay, big brother.
All right. So yes, I did have a birthday,
but I didn't have one on.
And yeah, went to the LCS.
You're now what? 30. You're 30. What? 37.
37.
88.
Yep.
Celeste just turned, I think, 34.
Oh, great!
I think her birthday was Tuesday as well.
Yeah. She was the first person. She was the first person. Actually, no. She was the second person to wish me happy birthday, but she was the first person to do it on the actual birthday.
Our friend Celeste, the only person I give shout outs on the channel, and Bill Goddess. Every week she pops in, I highlight her thing, and I say, check out her channel.
She's the first person to wish me happy birthday on my actual birthday. My grandmother got me like Sunday, but I was like, G-Mom, it's not my birthday yet.
Your mom doesn't even know what day your birthday is?
No, this is my grandmother.
Oh.
Or his grandmother's probably in her 90s, right?
In her 90s, and she's got like half a dozen grandkids to remember birthdays.
Which one? You're the one I don't like.
I'm the oldest one, and I'm the one that actually worked for her. So.
Well, you see her at the annual get-togethers, right?
Not since like 2020.
Oh, she stopped going to the meetings.
Maybe 2019. No, she lives in Texas. My mom's family is all over the place, so it's very hard to. It's like hurting.
Man.
I didn't say anything.
Anyway, Moon is following us. This is issue number 10. This story will be wrapping up soon, which saddens me because the art and the story are unique and creative, and I really like what Daniel Warren Johnson and Riley Rossmo have made here. I think it's really cool. More people should be reading this or checking this out. If you want to wait for the trade, I understand, but this is definitely worth a check out.
I think it's great. It's gonna be great.
Huh?
No, I just think of Trump every time. So it's like, it's really good. You're gonna like it.
It is really good. You will like it. All right, we got Ultimate Wolverine issue number 6. We get some more X-Men characters showing up in this. Legion is present in this world. We also find out Beast and Abigail Brand are in this world, and Beast is like full blue teddy bear mode.
No, wait. Is this the same? This must be separate than the Peach Momoko thing, then, huh?
Yeah, the Peach Momoko X-Men are different characters. So the actual X-Men characters that we know, like Gambit or Sabretooth or Kitty Pryde, they are alive in this universe. They're just not in Japan. So if you want X-Men characters that you already know and are pretty familiar with, but there's a twist to them, this is what you should check out. The Peach Momoko one does have like Armor and Surge, but then they change some of the other characters up as well.
If you want Evil Colossus, check out that book.
Evil Colossus, that's right. All right, this one. Oh, here we go.
Wait. He's colossally evil.
Are you proud of that?
I am very proud of that. I'm sticking with it.
You should not be. All right, we have Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion. interesting. It does pick up on a few. There's one or two things from Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Invasion that get picked up in here. Miles Morales is the only other person besides the Maker who came over to the 616 after the Ultimate Universe died out. And so when the Maker goes to make his own universe, he invites Miles to go with him. Miles says no. And the Maker leaves him a card, which Miles throws in the trash. Well, the card is not a card. The card is a portal. And Miles, I guess he has like a little baby sister. I guess it's his baby sister.
That's new. I don't think you ever.
I didn't know he had a baby sister. It was news to me. But the baby sister pulls it out the trash, activates the portal, and goes through it. Ends up in the new Ultimate Universe. So Miles goes in after her.
I was hoping that Miles wouldn't come in yet. Like wait another year or so. But
he's on the cover.
I know. I was hoping that they would have kept him on.
Why do you think they would keep him away for a year? He's on this cover. You're right front and center.
To let something, before, because I don't want it. I want the world build more before we get Miles introduced in here.
It's been I don't want a year and a half.
I don't want him coming in and being like American Chavez and punching Hitler, And
okay,
then
back to my review. So Miles shows up, runs into Peter and Richard. Richard is like just like jaw dropping, like because Miles is like an idol now to Richard. Like Richard thinks he's the coolest Spider-Man, which kind of hurts Peter's feelings, which was an interesting take. I kind of like that because Peter's trying to mentor Richard, and now Richard is like man crushing on Miles because Miles has been doing this for a little bit longer. He's more used to the spider powers, so he thinks Miles is a lot cooler. So that was an interesting direction to go with that. Spot.
How do you know about him?
How did what?
How did Richard know about him to have
he noticed, so they're swinging through the city, and he notices that Miles has a lot more control over his swings. Like, because you got to remember, Peter and Richard are fairly new. They'd only been doing this for about a year.
He didn't know about him before. He just instantly makes it. Yeah, that's.
What do you mean?
I mean, if he had known about Miles from before or something like that somehow, but it seems to me like just seeing him and instantly saying, "Oh, he's so much better than my dad. Oh my gosh, you're my idol." That seems kind of pandering.
Maybe. I mean, I can see it if Miles and Richard are going to be closer in age. So there's that. Also, Miles has different powers. Like he uses his invisibility power. He uses his lightning power. So he's got different abilities that Peter doesn't have. And Richard doesn't know how these powers work. So maybe he thinks that he can get those powers too.
You also got to point out that the creator of Miles Morales, Spider-Man right now, and well, not the character, but the book title is in writing in that book. So of course they're going to praise Miles.
Yeah, I mean, but overall it wasn't terrible. So also the B story, or everybody's now looking for the baby. Miles and Richard and Peter are looking for the baby. But then what happens is when these portals get activated, or this portal gets activated and the baby falls to this new Ultimate Earth, all of the Makers, like Cabal, notice that it gets like kind of pinged on their radar, and they figure that it's something from the Maker, and they all want this baby. They don't know she's a baby, but they're all like, "Oh, we have to find out what this is." So now like everybody's after this baby. Yeah, it was all right. It was, it wasn't. I'm not saying it's like one of the better Ultimate books, but it was all right. It was all right. Proto was. I found it more entertaining than Ultimate X-Men or Ultimate Black Panther. So
yeah, I can see that
definitely. All right, we got new G.I. Joe Real American Hero. This is number 317. Pretty cool stuff going on here. You've got two different stories going on. You've got the ninjas of G.I. Joe. They are infiltrating the Cobra base of Springfield, dressed up like a bunch of defectors. And so they're, going to be blending in, going undercover, figuring out what Cobra's up to in Springfield. And then you also have a team of Joes that are on Cobra Island watching where all of these people have been turned into mutants. And so you've got two different stories here. Very cool setup. Something big is probably going to be happening within the next couple of issues. Very interesting stuff here. Also, really cool. Cobra Commander was trying to work something out with Destro. He insults Destro, And Destro's like, when you came here, you were unconscious, so we operated on you. We put these like electric nodes in your body on top of your nerves. So he like just starts torturing them. That was kind of cool. And Baroness is like, this is the most I've been entertained in years. This book, this was not on my radar at all until
on your radar
until 2 days ago. And everybody on Marvel Twitter started talking about it. I didn't know this was coming out, or if I did, I forgot about it. And I was like, now I have to get this. Now I have to read this. This is World to Come. This is a new Marvel Knights book. This is from Joe Quesada and Christopher Priest. It was Christopher Priest also, so I feel obligated to get it just because I like Christopher Priest. Also, I forget Joe Quesada is an artist because I just know him as Joe Quesada, who makes dumb creative decisions. But he's actually a pretty good artist. This was interesting, though. So this is not main canon Black Panther. This is alternate timeline, I guess, Black Panther. The storytelling is very different. It takes place. It goes in reverse.
Is what kind of a story?
You start with old Black Panther, and then it kind of goes backwards from there. So in this timeline, of course, they mentioned that T'Challa and Storm got married, and then they divorced, and then Storm actually ends up dying in this timeline. So then T'Challa goes and marries another girl, someone I'm not familiar with.
Monica Lynn, that was his original girlfriend.
That was his original girlfriend?
Yeah.
Way back when?
Okay. When he's in the rain there, he said it took a while. He left originally.
Yeah, well, I hadn't read a lot of solo Black Panther, so he marries this other girl, and there's some interesting back and forth between them. But the story, I mean, the big thing everybody's talking about is by the time you get to the end of the story, it's revealed that T'Challa has had a white son who he is now fighting for dominion of Wakanda. It's interesting. I don't necessarily hate it. I love all the memes I'm seeing that the prophecy of Ryan Gosling Black Panther is being fulfilled. I find that hilarious. But yeah, this was an interesting read. I'll probably pick up number 2. I thought it was.
If I may add a little context,
please do.
Yeah, there was a series, the Jungle Action series, in the mid '70s by Don McGregor.
Yes,
that's where Monica Lynn goes back to his appearances in the Avengers, and when he was substitute teacher Luke Charles living in Hell's Kitchen. So she goes back that far.
Okay.
She went to Wakanda, and the other women there hated her. So it's it's like nowadays when like two women meet their besties all the time in modern comics. No, the natives hated her, and apparently at some point in that series, I don't even remember that he started a little fling with a white chick, and that's where they think that the White Panther came from.
Interesting.
So the woman got killed off at some point.
Yeah.
But they think that might be her kid. I said, because I was watching Just Some Guy video last night. That's what I learned about it. He goes, in a rare moment of usefulness, Rich Johnson gets to tell. That's how he brought that up. But
I I find it hilarious because it's driving all the people crazy.
Well, I told Josh I was on history. I said, the League of Comics Geeks fans are so pissed off about a white Black Panther that they're going to boycott pirating issue 2.
I love it. It's so. But look, I think I said this. I think Aaron or somebody that does the thinking, like Wes is sad. Somebody was talking about it, and I was like, you know what? Oh no, I think it was Aaron. I think it was Aaron Sparrow because he's like, at least people are talking about this. Nobody's talking about One World Under Doom. So word of mouth, because I didn't know that this book was coming out until I turned on Twitter 2 days ago and saw everybody losing their minds.
People saying, "Oh, we're not going to go watch the movie now." I'm like, he's not in a movie. He's a freaking comic character.
I didn't even know about it.
Comics anyway. Let's be real. None of them read comics anyway.
Well, none of them pay for them.
Yeah, that's true. Also, another thing I was surprised to learn is Marvel is doing a swimsuit issue for like the first time in 30 years.
Yeah, they'll all be in bloomers.
I don't know, man. The ad I saw, like they were all the women were in bikinis.
They're gonna have all their gay characters in swimsuits.
Black Widow, She-Hulk, Scarlet Witch, and Captain Marvel were all in bikinis, and it was kind of great. So,
I'm surprised that I'm still surprised Marvel did this. Now, again, before everybody gets excited, say, Marvel's sticking it to the media. They're playing along with the meme. No way does a white writer get away with doing that. That only happened because it was Christopher Priest.
Because Christopher Priest is sick and tired of being the token writer that only can write black characters.
No, I know that, but no white writer would have been allowed to make a white.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, probably. You probably.
And that's the problem with comics. Like I said, Don McGregor, who wrote, in my opinion, the second best run of Black Panther, was white, and he dealt with the Klan. He dealt with, like I said, he's the one that wrote the Native women of Wakanda hating the woman, the outworlder that he brought over.
Right.
But he couldn't do any of that shit today. And I said, and unfortunately, comics can only be so good as long as there are all these rules that, only X can write X.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you're a white writer, you really gotta write with one hand tied behind your back.
Well, he was created by a couple of white guys too.
It doesn't matter. But it does not matter to today's audience.
I understand. No, I understand that. I'm just saying, it's like,
they would say a lech and a Jew.
Yeah. Next up, I don't know what Geekeasy's talking about. Absolute Superman number 8, pretty freaking great. We get Superman versus an upgraded Peacemaker who shoots kryptonite bullets. We also get some more background on the absolute Ra's al Ghul, who is a vicious monster. Turns a guy into a baby using Lazarus juice or whatever you want to call it, and then drops the baby from the top of a building like a monster. Like, that's how you write it. That's a pretty good villain. But anyway, you get to see Superman, Lois, and Jimmy interacting for the first time, all three of them together. Jimmy and Lois are kind of on two different ends. Jimmy is with this group called the Omega Men. They're kind of like freedom fighters who fight against the Peacemakers, who Lois Lane works for. So kind of interesting dynamics there. I think it was written really well. Peacemaker kind of goes crazy and tries to kill Superman before Brainiac pulls the plug on him and says that he wants Superman alive. But yeah, this is really good. Really enjoyed this issue. Absolute Superman keeps on winning. All right. RDV talked about this in the group chat, and I read this issue first just so I could read up on it and be knowledgeable on it. This is Imperial number 1. Huh?
That's the better of the one you showed so far. That was better than the Miles Morales one.
Oh, Imperial? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, why is right there on the cover, Jonathan Hickman.
It just feels like Clue. Who done it?
Dude, but it's sci-fi Clue. Like I don't. Maybe it's just me. Marvel has my favorite cosmic characters and universe and stuff. Like I love the Marvel cosmic side of things. So in this, you've got Sakaar, which apparently the civilization of Sakaar got moved to another planet. You've also got you've got the Shi'ar, you've got the Kree, the Skrulls, the Light Brigade from Hickman's Fantastic Four run gets brought up in here, which is pretty cool. You've got Nova, you've got Peter Quill, who doesn't seem to have any of the other Guardians around at this point. This overall, it is, yes. Okay, so it is kind of like Clue. There is an assassination. Hulk's son, Scar, I think was his name. Scar gets killed by a poison, and so Bruce and Amadeus Cho and Jen, She-Hulk, go off into space, and they try to find out, who's responsible so that Hulk can, kill them, I guess. And then you find out that Scar is really like the third or fourth victim of this. Somebody's been going around killing other important leaders in the same way. One of them is Peter Quill's half-sister, Jason's daughter, which I was surprised to see Jason. Jason, by the way, is a dick. Anybody that hasn't read or know about Jason, I'm one of the few people I read the Bendis run of Guardians, which I actually really liked. But one of the things it did was it talked about how Jason is this jerk of a dad.
Well, Jason was
And
also
so-
brought up in the animated Disney XD cartoon.
Well,
The only time I've ever was Bendis and that. Otherwise,
yeah.
he's ignored.
So the one thing that it wasn't super how I remembered it being, but Peter Quill seemed to be a lot more cordial to his father in this than I remember him being in other runs. Even the Jackson and Lanning one recently, where they were all Western-fied. Peter Quill didn't like Spartax or his dad or the royalty. In this, he was a lot more cordial towards them. Kind of flippant in a few liners, but not nearly as much as he had been. That's probably the one I wouldn't even say complaint. It was like the one little blip that didn't jive right. But other than that, so Jason wants to find out who's responsible for trying to kill his daughter. Hulk wants to find out who's doing this so that he can avenge his son. Peter Quill goes and finds Nova in a bar and wants him to team up so that they can, I guess, restart the Guardians. And then you've got
Nova.
They've got like this whole council of this whole intergalactic council going on. The Kree get accused because they were the ones that made the poison, and so everyone is about to blame Hulkling and Wiccan. But then you find out the Kree actually sold the poison to somebody, and it was somebody from the intergalactic. They're using the intergalactic Wakanda, system or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not super knowledgeable with that. I think didn't that come from Ta-Nehisi Coates? Wasn't he the one that took Wakanda into outer space, or was that somebody else? Somebody did that fairly recently. They took Wakanda. It was like set in the future or something, and they took Wakanda to outer space. I don't remember.
I don't know
But
about that.
overall, the art on this is really good. It is Ivan Coelho, who had been doing Fantastic Four. His art is really good in this. You get a bunch of little sci-fi Easter eggs. Like I said, you see like the Light Brigade. You see Lilandra's daughter, who is now like the new heir to the Shi'ar. Deathbird is in here. Some of the Imperial Guard show up. So it's a lot of fun. So I enjoyed this a lot. It's the first issue, usually with Hickman, the first issue is some exposition. You got to give him some time to cook, though. I think that this is going to end up being really, really good.
The dude getting shot, and then because the gravity thing, and it's weird, like the bullet going around, it looked like Darkseid's eye beams, how it went around zigzag stuff, and then its target, and then people floating off in space because the dome was breached and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I liked it.
I just didn't like Nova. Nova looked like Fat Thor without the fat.
What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying no. Remember how Thor was defeated and stuff after the snap and stuff, the original.
Well, I haven't read anything with Nova in it.
I say there's no explanation why he's like that. That's what kind of throws me off. It's like, why is he this? I'm retired, and there's only one other Nova person other than me. Who's Sam?
Probably Sam.
Yeah,
probably Sam.
Like, what happened in the Nova Corps? Or Corps? I don't know.
Well, they've been. Hasn't the Nova Corps kind of been out of it for a while? I mean, that's not new.
Yeah, I just confused. Like, where
they've been wiped out for a while.
Yeah, and also there was no Guardians of the Galaxy. It was just Star-Lord.
Yeah, well, I think that's what it is. I think after the Jackson and Lansing run ended, I don't know if they split up. I didn't even finish that run.
That's what I was hoping. This wasn't like the bisexual version of him, like in this kind of depressing version. I wanted the actual.
Or was it Al Ewing? Was he the most? No, Jackson, Lansing, and Colin Kelly. They took over after the Al Ewing one. Because
I like Star-Lord. Star-Lord has been established even for normies and stuff. Is that Star-Lord has just been like kind of the Chris Pratt version in the comics.
Yeah.
You know? And it didn't feel that way in this one.
I thought it. I mean, like he could have been more flippant against his dad, but I mean, I thought it felt like fine to me. I mean, I didn't see any huge difference.
He felt like Johnny Storm without the ugly mustache.
I mean, Johnny Storm and Peter Quill are kind of very similar in a lot of ways.
Are you saying they're both useless?
You say that. I don't say that.
Johnny Storm's useless. I wouldn't say Star-Lord is.
They're both great characters. Right. We've got Justice League Godzilla Kong 2. This is issue number 1. I got the Dan Mora because it's Dan Mora. Why wouldn't I?
No, you got the Ghidorah one. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. They're the one monster I kept waiting to see in the first one, and they never used them. And so I'm hoping that they use him in this go around.
I thought he was used and just killed.
I don't think they did.
I didn't.
Not in. I have to go back and check. I don't think they used it in the first volume. Anyway, Amanda Waller has the Suicide Squad here, including some Legion of Doom members from the Lex Luthor, Captain Cold, and basically she wants to come up with an American government solution so that they don't have to trust the Earth to this. It's like in the Justice League cartoon. She doesn't want to trust the superheroes that don't answer to the government, so she wants to create her own government stand-in. So she has them use Enchantress magic to infuse King Shark and make him very much Titan size, like Godzilla size. And it actually looks really cool. Titanized King Shark is really cool. So you get Godzilla fighting King Shark. Doesn't kill him because King Shark, and he probably would if King Shark didn't return to normal at the right time. But then you also have a little side story here. Barry and Iris get married in this issue. One of the big talking point is Barry hasn't told Iris that he's the Flash. And there's heroes that say it's fine. There's other heroes that say, oh, that's not cool. You should probably tell her. So you've got a few different things going on there. The big surprise, which I'm kind of a fan of, because I think this character has had it a long time coming, is that somebody gets shot at the very end of this issue. RDV, did you spoil it already? You probably did. You probably did.
You literally came in when I was reviewing this book.
Yeah, he
and you're eating chicken while I was showing Amanda Waller.
Well, that's why I didn't hear you. I was eating chicken. That's why.
He was eating Amanda's chicken, and she figured she had nothing left to live for.
Okay.
So yeah, thing
Amanda
got
Waller
the
gets
colonel
shot.
wrong.
Huh?
What's that?
You got the colonel's name wrong.
Oh, what's the colonel's name?
It's not Flag. He announces himself after he shoots her.
Ah, that's right. It's not Flag. That's right. I remember it.
Shaw.
It's why is that name important? I feel like that
Commander Shaw was before Flag, I guess. I'm not sure.
I don't know if he's anything. I think he just announced himself, so I wouldn't think it was Flag.
Okay. For some reason I thought that name was important. I meant to go Google it, but I never.
The way
did.
he's drawn, he looks just like Rick Flag.
And
I
also,
thought it was Sebastian Shaw, but
which is probably why he announced himself at the end.
Yeah. But anyway, this is off to a good start, though. I really enjoyed the previous run. I'm hoping that this is going to be just as good. A lot of fun, a lot of good art in here. Monsters. Some of the Justice League go to Skull Island, and King Kong doesn't remember them, so I think there's going to be like a Superman King Kong fight. Batman's got a giant mech ready to go. So
the sad thing is,
a lot of fun there.
You know that part of that fat is her Kevlar vest under what she's wearing. You know she's not. You know she's getting up at the beginning of issue 2.
Maybe. I mean,
we have a month to enjoy.
Are you saying that
they killed Guy Gardner in the previous story? Spoilers. They did kill somebody permanently in the previous story. So
you can't say spoilers and then try to redact the name if you said it.
I know if she actually is dead, that's.
Didn't they show blood though?
It's a fake world
on her body. Look at the book.
Unless it's a life model decoy and that's oil or something.
No, I didn't notice.
You know what that was? That was her gravy. The biscuits.
Number 1 book of the week, though. I haven't heard anybody else talk about it. I don't know why. JSA issue number 8. First of all, let's appreciate the old-timey Silver Age look of this cover.
Oh, if you had gone up on time, you would have heard somebody talking about it.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I was in Bible study.
We were in comic book study.
Anyway, it's interesting. So I thought this was just going to be like a little filler throwback, kind of a break from the story that's been going on. And for most of the book, it is that. It goes back and it kind of gives you like this little World War II, post-World War II adventure of the JSA trying to find the Spear of Destiny. You get some fun cameos in here. Sergeant Rock, the Unknown Soldier, the Blackhawks, some really cool like little cameos and stuff. But then towards the end, it actually ties into the story that's going on, which I thought was really cool. So it's not just like a not for nothing filler issue. It actually does tie into the story in a way. So I thought that was really cool. The art was solid. I'm still not convinced that Wildcat is going to be dead for long. But yeah, just a lot of fun. The characters, just the art style, everything about this was cool. Fighting the Blitz was Baron Blitzkrieg and these other like Nazi-esque villains. That was fun to see. Yeah, just a good time. Just a really good time all around. So good on Jeff Lemire. Not the regular artist. They had a stand-in artist, somebody whose last name is Guidry. That's all I got. But yeah, I just love this cover too. It's very cool. It's very classic. And the Spear of Destiny, once again, being the only MacGuffin, the only item the JSA can ever look for or find. But it works, though. This is a great issue. Highly recommend this. All right, 2 other books I picked up. One I showed off kind of already on Twitter. It was a nice little, like a grail find for me. I've been staring at it for like the last 3 or 4 years on the wall at my LCS, and I finally bought it. I got Iron Fist issue number 12. I'm going to hang this on the wall or frame it or something. This thing is clean and pretty, and it's just, I see it every time I go in there.
Was it 2 numbers, 3 numbers?
It was 2 numbers. It was just 2 numbers. It's not like a key issue or anything. It's just a really good looking.
It's a 2-parter, though.
What's that?
It's a 2-parter.
Is that? Well, yeah. I mean, this is. I don't know if I'm gonna open this up and read it. I may put this on the wall.
You definitely should. And
yeah,
you don't really
I'll probably find a collection, or I'll find somewhere else to read it. I did look at the synopsis. I do know it's Iron Fist trying to warn Captain America about the Wrecking Crew. I think it is.
No, what happens is the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
They attack Iron Fist, and they've kidnapped Misty Knight.
Yeah.
And they tell him, said, if you want her back, go to Avengers Mansion and kill every Avenger you find.
Yeah.
And he knows Iron Man, so he figures he can work something out with him. But it's Cap that's there.
Gotcha.
And that sets you up for issue 12. And please read it. It's if you like the X-Men Danger Room, you will love this story.
It's John Byrne.
Yes.
And
Claremont and Byrne.
Claremont and Byrne? Okay. Yeah, Claremont and Byrne. Yeah, that's dynamite right there.
I'm surprised that nobody made the joke.
What joke? I don't even want to. No, you know what? You don't get to. You don't get to. Not on my birthday special. So they also have another book that I saw on the wall.
Your birthday was yesterday.
It is a key issue, and I'm eyeing it. If nobody buys it next week, they have the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill. It's a little bit more than this Iron Fist was. I don't think the condition is really good, but
Thor 337.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Well, that's like that's a little over 200 in mint. So
well, it's not mint because this one it's going for double. It's not even $100. It's like 90 or something. So.
Yeah, you can. That's if it's in decent. If it's like a 6 or a 7.
Yeah.
Ish, that would put it in about that range. So
yeah, and I get a 20% discount because I have a pull list and everything. So
cool.
It's even cheaper. I didn't even know about that. I went to go buy this and I was expecting. So this was $45 is what they had it all for, right? But then when I'm checking out, it was actually the owner of the store who checked me out. And he was like, "Oh yeah, you get a 20% discount because you have a pull box here, so you're not even paying $45." I was like, I didn't even know about that. So. But speaking of Claremont and Byrne and great creative teams, I got a trade that I've been wanting to get for a while. I got Mark Millar and John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson, Wolverine, Enemy of the State. This is Wolverine number 20 through 32, the story where he is brainwashed by the Hand, or maybe it's Hydra. It's one of them. And then he just kind of it's him against the world. So I've been wanting to read this for a while, and I got to flip through it a little bit. I hadn't read the full thing, but this is some of John Romita Jr.'s best art, I think.
So you know what happens in the story, though, right?
I know Wolverine is brainwashed, and S.H.I.E.L.D. sends Elektra after him, I think. And I can't recall the ending. You do get some great Elektra, fighting ninjas in the snow.
Well, let's just put it this way. Within 6 months of that, within a year of that story, Wolverine was lecturing people on losing control and killing, which the irony you could scoop up with a spoon.
Yeah, but that's not in this, though.
No, but I'm saying based on what he does in that series,
Oh, okay.
he lost any right to mention that ever again.
Wow, that's fair, I guess. But yeah, it's just, I mean, this is why I like John Romita. Like, I don't know, something about the art in this, like John Romita's work in this is just really, really, and it's also Mark Millar, so I don't think you can really go wrong.
As a standalone story, that's really cool. As part of continuity, it's a little shaky.
Yeah, I can see that. But that is it. That is my haul this week. There is also, so besides the Beta Ray Bill, another thing I saw, they have a whole compendium of the Jonathan Hickman and Nick Dragotta series, East of West, which I used to listen to Ash and Skip talk about and praise all the time. They have like all 45 issues in one compendium. So I might go back and get that.
Is that book currently in print?
East of West?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is the content, because the reason why I say that is, because it goes back to a question I've been asked, hundreds of times over the years at the record store. When they find a cool used record, but they're trying to debate between a cool used record and a new one, I go, always go used, because that new record, if we sell it, it'll be back.
Yeah.
You may never see that used record at that price again. That's why I asked, like I said, because depending on what kind of condition requirement you have for Thor 337, that might be the best deal you'll ever see on it in that condition.
It might be,
myself. So if East West is still there, if it's still in print, if they sell that one, they can always get another one in.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. Yeah, that's all I got though.
Well, everybody's on break, but I only picked up 3 books this week. It's not even worth turning on my camera for. But I got the Godzilla, JLA versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
I got JSA and I got Pop Kill, and we've talked about all 3 of those.
Nice. Very cool.
So that's
Alrighty then. Breen, are you all set?
I'm already done. I said no, I'm serious. I only had 3 books, and we've talked about them, so there's no reason to put me on camera or anything. So
You just want to go on camera tonight? Are you shirtless?
No.
Well, apparently,
No,
Jeff
I bought.
I look like I had to prove it. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Nope. I'm not sure. I'm not shirtless. I only got 3 books, and we've already talked about them. So
you didn't get any back issues? What's on the couch next to you by the bookmark?
Just some crap that I was cleaning out a box, and this is the Marvel value stamp thing.
That's cool.
But I've shown that before.
That's okay. Show it all.
No, I said next week is back to double digits. So it's kind of nice to have a light week this week.
Right.
And it turns out those Atlas archives are not coming the next 2 weeks. They've been pushed back to like later.
Gee, I wonder if Torpedo 1972 will come out.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no.
Hey, what if it does though? We got Vampires Carmilla and Shutter both came out.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't know why this keeps showing, because, like I said, the writer and artist left the book. So what's the point, honestly?
If it was in the middle of the series, sure, but but if it was the final issue, just release it.
Well, I said apparently they left after the 4th issue. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Henry. I was gonna wait till I did mine to Spider-Man. I know it's an easy answer, but that's
what mine was too. It's the easy answer.
Again, like I said, I know he's the most popular character, but now if I had just started reading comics like when Zach did, not a chance in hell would Spider-Man be my favorite character, because he's been written like shit since for the last 20 years.
Okay, based off the past 20 years, what is the best Marvel character?
You mean other than America Chavez?
I said best.
I would honestly have trouble picking one, because I don't think any of them have been written particularly well for the last 15 years. No, Jackson, I didn't. I want to, but I mean, I bought the 5 Atlas archives of the Golden Age, and I bought the Joe Maneely, the fan edition or whatever those are called. That they're even larger size and larger priced. But I did not pick up the Tower of Shadows.
I got it.
Yeah, and I won it, but
Henry, I started reading in 2003.
Wow, is it?
As soon as I turned 18.
It might be my favorite if I start reading it. Maybe Bucky Barnes.
Winter Soldier?
That was right when that great Brubaker run happened.
I was thinking about that. Winter Soldier would be up there, but for Moon Knight,
but he's a clown. He's been a clown for 10 years now. So
Moon Knight has been with Jed McKay has been really good, consistently good.
But the way I see it, since I've been reading.
Now, here's the thing, though. I would only know Moon Knight based off of like the past 20 years. You know, I wouldn't if I would not sit down and read the Don Perlin and all the stuff, the Doug Mensch. I probably wouldn't like the character as much. You know, but anyway, though, I'm gonna show off some books I got from East Auction. So we got some Dynamite with Kato, number 13.
Oh, real quick, Henry. Second would be The Thing.
For me, Punisher.
That, as Zach would say, that tracks.
Hey, the Garth Ennis Punisher.
No, that's a good pick. I mean, but I mean, I said I've been reading since.
Yeah, I know.
Forever. So I mean, I had so many years. I mean, Punisher was kind of a side character when I started.
Marvel was a 2-in-1. That was the Thing. Yeah. How could you not like that Thing? You know, he was pushed on you.
I'll say this: in 1986, when that miniseries started, the Stephen Grant, Mike Zeck one, that was supposed to be a 4-issue series, and they extended it to 5 before the regular series. That was an event.
So I'm excited to read these because I do like Mark Waid's writing. So, and it's curious to see what he did with the character. All right, and then after this, the following comic books are not meant for children or anyone under the age of 18 or anybody who's immature or hates women that look good. If you hate cheesecake, leave now. Because Brino, you know what's coming up next.
I was thinking about going to the refrigerator and getting the cheesecake out.
I got it right here. That's right. We got some FemForce here going on. AC Comics. Thanksgiving. I see 2 reasons why I'm good, thankful. And then we're going to take a break from the cheesecake and go into the power of Shazam. Or just Shazam.
That was a great series.
Then I just filled in some Booster Gold issues that I didn't have. I gotta ask though, what is with the villains having the weird hair, the whip, and then we have Cortez, and then this is the Blackguard who actually had
late 80s.
It was just weird, and that was also with the G.I. Joe. We had I forgot what they're called, the Thunder guys, whatever, Blood Thunders, whatever.
Blame whichever member of Kid and Play had that haircut.
Yeah. Booster goes out with a bang. Dan Jurgens. All right, we resume to our main feature, FemForce, number 35.
Well, be sure to put up the Booster Gold again in case Howler Mouse missed it the first time.
Oh, I didn't see him yet. If he pops up in the chat, let me know. Then I'll definitely go back because everyone deserves to see the awesomeness of Booster Gold before DC ruins them with their movie. She Cat Cornered. All right. Then we get Raven in the FemForce.
Cheeseburger and Comics. I have almost all the comics AC Comics put out. A lot of great reprints.
The Purple Claw versus Mark Zuckerberg. Like I say, I'm surprised we're not ranking these covers. We haven't done the Femforce yet. Remember, we were originally going to, and for whatever reason, we stopped. I think because I don't think Henry had it, and it was on his list for Femforce, but you could tell that's clearly 80s. The hairstyle, everything, the angry villain.
Yep.
And the fact that she's also got cannons.
Chest cannons.
Or as our friend over on Isle Comics says, chesticles. For some reason.
Lungs.
Flotation devices. And this is Keith Bullard. Yeah, of course you're gonna. Henry saying it looks like copies of Raven, Black Cat, Scarlet Witch, Huntress, etc., etc. It kind of is, but from what I've been told by many experts in this field, LK being one of them, they were actually written good. It's like Xenoscope before Xenoscope.
Yeah, there was some plot to go with it.
Yep, that's the Stardust I wanted. But I didn't get that. We got gold. We got Cody Rhodes, and then filling in.
Never forget what they took from us.
Nope, can't forget. Vengeance of Vampirella. 10. Adam Hughes cover. I just never liked Adam Hughes with faces. He was good with anatomy, but his face sucked.
Disagree, but to each his own.
Yeah. Of course. Another Grail mine. I don't have any Grails, but Kelly Puckett on this. Kelly Puckett is one of my favorite writers. And then I picked these up on a whim because he's like, "Here, I got these. You want these? Sure, why not?" Scarlet Fever. And then we have issue 3. Yep. And then issue 4. That is just an awesome cover. I would have loved it more if she would have popped it. So
Fucking did it again.
the cat?
No. I gave up on a Pacers game because they were getting blown out, and they're going to win at the last second again.
See what it means, right? When you don't watch, they win.
Unfucking believable.
I think that's awesome.
Wow.
You found the secret, but now you made it out loud. It ain't gonna work again.
Well, unless the Thunder can score in 0.3 seconds. Holy cow. I just turned over to see how bad of a blowout it was.
They know you're watching. That's
They were down 7 with 39 seconds, and now they're up 1.
Bro, this would never be on a Henry month. Just saying. Really? No. You don't like Femforce? I think Femforce has really good covers. They're not Lester friendly, but all right. Went from Western to superhero and everything in between. AC is a good read.
Yeah, they said they published a lot of public domain reprints.
I gotta ask though, what is your favorite DC character of all time?
DC characters?
DC?
But I was
He wasn't for the first 10 years, but Superman because of what Byrne did with him.
It's either my first favorite was Hal Jordan. Now these days I tend to go more towards Wally West, but I still really like Hal. Hal is still a favorite Green Lantern.
I remember when Kyle was in the early 2000s. Everyone's like, "Oh, we love Kyle. Kyle's the best," and I was just like,
Kyle's cool.
Kyle is my second favorite Green Lantern.
Yeah, but
Trailing
I mean, like
only Double G.
Yeah, they were saying like Kyle was better than Hal and all that stuff, and I'm just like,
nonsense.
I know.
What in the early 2000s, he flat out was.
Well, okay, that's true. But Hal was dead.
No. Hal was dead because he was boring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they gave him a big story as a send off.
Yeah,
it wasn't until Jeff Johns brought him back that you had 20 years of fantastic Green Lantern stories.
What year was Crisis?
86. That's where they killed 85. That's where they killed the Flash.
Yeah.
But
when did Hal die?
Well, he didn't die. He basically
became the Spectre.
He became Parallax, which at the time was just the first time a major comic book company had turned, unless you count. There was one character from like Archie Comics or something, where they turned a major character bad without any like like possessions or anything like that, which they ended up changing, but because they wanted to bring Hal back, but Kyle was a far more interesting Green Lantern, and I said there are no great Green Lantern stories in his run. I mean, because even if you scrutinize the O'Neill Adams run, it's very heavy-handed. It's very of the moment. It's very on the nose.
I like outside of the actual title for like Green Lantern, I liked in the Action Weekly when they had stuff like that with Green Lantern. I thought those were good.
Well, it's not that there weren't good stories. I mean, I enjoyed the character, but they felt that they needed to do something, and like I said, it's unfortunately, when they after Green Lantern Rebirth, 20 years of great, overwhelmingly great to not great stories. I don't think they ever recaptured the magic with Flash. I think all they did with bringing Wally back or Barry back was screwed over a generation of Wally West fans.
Yep.
And I can't. I still can't think of them.
It's like to me, it's like bringing Uncle Ben back and having Uncle Ben to stay around.
The only memorable, the truly memorable Flash story was the trial of the Flash. After he killed Reverse Flash, who was going to kill the woman Barry was about to marry, the last 25 issues dealt with that and leading into the Crisis. So that, but by that time, they'd already made the decision to sacrifice him in Crisis and cancel that book and relaunch it with Wally West.
Because I'll say, as far as the issue where she's gonna marry Reverse Flash and stuff, and he has to like go and like that storyline with those interesting. But like, I remember Flash just being gimmicky, big head. That
was a Silver Age. Everybody,
yeah.
Superman turning into a giant ape.
Yeah, Superman turning into a girl. Yeah.
But
I did have one other thing to show off. I forgot because it's not a comic book.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I got Shipwreck for my G.I. Joe action figure collection.
Now you can play with Navy guys. Jeff, are you free?
Yep. And I hate those Dixie cups. Those things are so hard to keep clean. No, Dixie cup. That's the hat he's wearing. That is.
I'm aware of what he's. Yes.
In the Navy.
I'm aware. This was a really cool thing, and you ruined it with that joke already.
I ruined it for you. Well, I guess you can get rid of that box then. Just get rid of it. Just throw it away.
No, I'm not getting rid of this box. He
I
even
ruined
has
it
the
for you.
parrot. Look, he's even got the parrot. It's cool. Anyway,
It's Angleton. He did join.
I need to find Wild Bill now. He's the next on my list that I'm hunting now. Is Wild Bill or Flint?
I'm glad that you're collecting guys.
I had Scarlet and Lady J already, so if I see CoverGirl, I'll pick her up. Easy. But
Alrighty then.
anyway, that's it.
Back to DC characters. As far as for me, overall DC, I didn't read DC at all until like Jeremy Adams went on Flash, or just before Jeremy Adams did. So I started reading Flash at the end of Josh Williamson run, and I really liked the Flash books. That then Jeremy Adams took over, and I really liked that character. But then that time I was getting into post-crisis Superman. There you go, Zach, drink.
It's in the next room. I'm not getting up for that.
And now, out of the comics, all the DC comic books I've been reading, as much as I love the Flash, Superman post-crisis is he's my favorite character. You know,
Burn Superman is my favorite. You know, I won't read anything else. I mean, I love his Superman.
Yeah. A Burn, and then I said like Ordway and like and Jurgens and all stuff, and Lee Simonson,
Roger Stern, Marv Wolfman.
Yep. You know, probably one of the best written characters in that 30 years.
The first 10, 12 years of that version of Superman was outstanding. And I said, as much as a fan as I am of Jeff Johns, I put what he, Mark Waid, and Richard Donner did with Superman in the same category I put what Joe Quesada did to Spider-Man. The only difference is a couple of people at DC have actually found ways to make Superman interesting since then. You know, Jurgens again, Tomasi in Rebirth, and Williamson this time around. But New 52 Superman sucked. Superman sucked. And I said Mark Waid and Jeff Johns sniveling Clark Kent sucked.
Did 90s Marvel have a good character run? I know because Burns Superman and stuff was really good. Is there
Peter David's Hulk I thought was
just as equally as good.
Incredible.
Okay.
Those would have probably been the two books I look forward to. The Superman family of books and the Hulk in those couple years in the 90s were probably what I look forward to the most. And because the Bwahaha era was getting undone. Mm-hmm. The problem with DC, as I said, when the bloom started coming off the Bwahaha rose, instead of tweaking it, they just undid it, and they did a storyline called Breakdowns, and then when it was over, it was back to business as usual, and it got so bad that they had to promise Grant Morrison the moon to bring him on to revive it.
Because I was trying to figure out, because I really like Spider-Man up until like Eric Larson took over. But
it was still being written by David Michelini, so at least it was still written well.
Yeah. But I mean, compared to what we were getting before that, with when Romita was on the book, Andrew and all stuff, just like this, I kind of felt like even in some of the Gary Conway had his issues with some of the issues, but I felt like it was so much written better back in the day versus then, and it was losing, almost like Spider-Man was losing his steam as he got closer to the 90s. Yeah. And then they went into the Clone Saga, the second one, and it just really made people just not care for the character anymore. At least for the most part.
Unlike a lot of those, the people that are going back and revisiting the Clone Saga are finding it's not quite as bad as they remembered.
No, and I think it's because I don't have any issues with the Clone Saga, because I wasn't there experiencing it as it happened. I was able to binge read it, and get through it. So,
It definitely got out of control. But I always bring up, and I'm going to touch on something that Henry said. They had every intention of making the clone turn out to be the real Spider-Man and Peter the clone, and the fan outrage was so great they changed their plans.
Because they remember Peter thought he was a clone.
Oh yeah, they went with it for about a year. I
was like,
they were going to do it, but the fans just were relentless.
And at the last minute,
if those editors were still there, Peter and Mary Jane would have been back together because they don't listen to fans anymore.
If I remember correctly, the only way they found out that Ben was a clone because he jumped in front of the glider, and got pierced, and then turned to sand.
Well, that was their get out of jail free card.
Yeah, I know.
But they were very careful. They didn't put any plot. They left themselves a now.
Yeah.
With Peter, in case they got cold feet later, so they didn't have to. When they reversed course, they didn't get an avalanche letter saying, "But this wouldn't have happened if you blah blah blah." Anyway, Henry Jeremiah said, "Sal Buscema run on the Hulk." Bill Mantlo doesn't get nearly the credit he should as being one of the best writers in Marvel history. He wrote the Hulk for probably, God, if you think about it, they had Bill Mantlo was on the book from, I think it's like 240 something up into the early 300s, I think. Then I think, Byrne wrote a few, Al Milgrom wrote a few, but then they got Peter David for another 100 plus. So basically 2 people had the Hulk for 20 years almost. But he was writing and Buscema was drawing when the first time they did the Hulk with Bruce Banner's brain for a protracted run. Highly recommend that. And the way they undid it slowly over the course of about 10 issues was, I hated it. I knew it was coming, but because I like that version better than I apologize to my buddy Dr. Silver Age, but Hulk Smash. There's only so much you can do with Hulk Smash. I mean, there's if they say that Peter being married to Mary Jane is limiting,
I mean, if it's Peter David saying Hulk Smash, Hulk is getting it on with his girlfriend. That's just Peter David's humor. One character I really wanted to get into, and it's Marnie's favorite character is Iron Man. I was reading those early issues. I love the art, but the stories just felt so boring compared to Spider-Man.
Give me another look.
Yeah.
I
said, like, I love the art on it, but it's just like I can't stand Happy Hogan. He's one character I want to go, so badly.
Not me,
it's probably because when I got in this, remember, by the time I got in the comic books, 2003, there was no Happy Hogan. Pepper wasn't married. No, she was single, and like I said, it's a totally different Iron Man I was reading. So going back and reading the originals, it's just different. So I'm not used to it. But
when they first introduced Happy Hogan, he was a punch drunk ex-boxer, and when they realized the series was going to last, and they wanted to add some intrigue, they made him a little better looking each issue. And
I don't know. I just feel like Happy Hogan's like the less interesting Foggy Nelson.
Well, that's again. I said,
they were both played by the same person.
But they had, Pepper. He was in love with Pepper. Pepper was in love with Tony.
Yeah.
Tony was in love with Pepper, but with his heart, he knew it couldn't happen. But they, over time, had Pepper legitimately fall for Happy. And there's a lot of stuff going on, going back to the Tales of Suspense Iron Man, and there's always been, the business, people trying to take over his business, and always different love interests in and out of the book. And I loved Iron Man up through about the first 270 issues of his title.
Yeah.
And then, bits and pieces since then, but
yeah. So, real quickly, this is the girl we're talking about before, Imperial Goddess, the one you didn't know we're talking about. She's the one who always says whenever Zach's on the screen, "Look at Zach, he's so handsome," every single time.
But you were calling her by her real name, right?
No,
That's what
her stage name is Celeste.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
because that's
Well,
what threw me. I
yeah,
So
never
obviously she has
Is that here doxing people?
she has a substance problem then, if that's the case. What she was saying.
Well, no, I'm just saying that she thinks she said that Zach's handsome, and
Right,
she's,
which proves that she has a substance problem.
and I'm gonna.
I don't
some
think
some
that.
that some that John or some that Zach said. Second best run of the 21st century. I will give it that.
What beats
JSA.
it?
JSA.
Yeah, but what beats it?
Brubaker's Captain America.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll allow that.
Not by much, but
I'll allow it.
but both of those. Oh man, I mean, you're talking about I said the first 100 Spider-Mans and Fantastic Fours don't count because it's unfair to everything that came after. But if you take those out, for me, you got like I said, the Peter David Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
That JSA is right up there.
It's so good.
It is. I've been reading a bunch of them lately, and basically, since Goyer started that book, I have liked the JSA better than the JLA.
That's fair. I read most of, not most. I probably read half of the Morrison JLA run, and I have a much more fun time reading the JSA.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And Grant Morrison, everybody thinks that he was there the whole time.
He was? Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah, I mean,
he really wasn't. Mark Wade's on most of those books. No. There's a bunch of other writers that are on.
And the Mark Wade ones, in my opinion, are better.
Yeah. I can agree to that.
I like the Bwahaha Justice League better than the JSA.
Yeah.
Only because it's just it was right place, right time.
Yeah.
I will never say it was better. I'm saying that I liked it better because I just love the feel of those books.
Yeah.
But as far as between the two groups, even now, I mean, this JSA is okay, and the Johns one before that was okay.
Well, that was just a shadow of its former.
Right. I said both of them are shadows of what Johns and Goyer used to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been reading. So, do you have the JSA Classified series?
No, I do not. I don't have the Classifieds.
You should start keeping your eyes out for those.
Okay.
Because that is remember the thing that came out after that, when they relaunched the JSA, and they had a companion book with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, JSA All Stars.
Yeah,
that was not
JSA series. JSA Classified, it runs rings around that.
Yeah, I bet it does. Because All Stars was an interesting concept, but man, they needed a better writer on that.
Who was it? The future Jen Sturgis. When he was Matthew.
JSA All Stars. No,
there's only one All-Star comic book that you need to read. And that's Batman, All-Star Batman. That's the only one worth reading.
Go lay down, Jeff.
It was. Come on now, don't be stupid, computer. Matt Sturgis.
Yeah,
that's who it was.
Yeah, and he shaved his legs, and now he is a she.
I did know that actually. I did know that.
Tony
and because it was a really cool team. That was the team that Cyclone and Stargirl went to.
You talking about Jenny Blake?
No. Well, JSA Classified. Maybe I'm forgetting what JSA All Stars were.
JSA Classified was like little side stories.
Yeah, I just read one about the couple characters from the Injustice Society, and it was kind of told in their point of view, and they're just good. They were excellent. Actually, I think JLA Classified was probably better than JLA now that I think about it.
Oh, and you were talking about earlier about them switching out who in the Clone Saga they switched Peter Parker. They did the same thing in the Batman, the original Hush, where it was supposed to be Jason Todd, but then they switched it at the last second. Didn't it? Wasn't that the case?
I don't remember.
I don't know either.
Couldn't recall.
Just yeah. Alrighty then. Any other questions from the chat?
No, but I'll say I always enjoy a chance to just talk some comics with no particular topic.
And you are the comic historian here, pretty much.
It's true.
Well, if that's a
actually,
nice way of
pretty
saying
much
I've wasted more of my life reading them. Yes, yes, I have. But
I wouldn't say that. I'd say that you're more versed in it because it's a hobby that you love. You're passionate about it. So,
well, I said it's right up there with sports history. So yeah, but yeah, I'd say there's good. Yeah, and also whereas I don't completely dismiss what your boy Zach is saying now, there's unquestionably more good comics now than there were 5 years ago.
Fact. I was just looking at my pull list on League of Comic Geeks. I used to be most weeks it was a struggle to find 5. Now it's like 5 is the normal or is the minimum. Like next week I've got 6 or 7. Like yeah, there's definitely more good comics than there were even a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I don't think Marvel has joined the party yet.
Nope.
no.
Now I mean but again, like I said, I know you bought and liked Imperial. I
Yes.
looked through it. Yeah, I've been out of Marvel so long, I didn't recognize most of the characters. Or the ones that were ones I was familiar with look so different now.
That's fair.
And I thought if I want to do that, I have all the comics from the 2005 Annihilation epic.
Yeah.
I'll reread that. I mean, I know the new one. No offense.
That's definitely not a bad place to start with. Annihilation is great.
Annihilation and what was the other one? Scourge.
No. Ultron Imperative?
Well, Scourge was actually Super Skull's real name.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
Well,
one of
remember
the series,
the one that most recently came out was Annihilation and something else.
Well,
Conquest.
that's the second time Annihilation has been used. It's
Yeah.
You know how like Marvel likes to go back and use names of famous things and do like a sequel or like they did it with Atlantis Attacks, they did it with Civil War,
Planet Hulk.
Planet Hulk, Secret Invasion. They
Yeah.
go back and they give all of their best events. They take the names and use it again. But the original Annihilation wave was really good. Ultron Imperative was good. I was like Ultron was off in space.
And there was a lot of Brubaker's X-Men.
Yeah,
Kind of relate.
It ties that goes into like War of Kings.
Yeah, all that stuff was just, and they actually took care to, if you were involved in that, you weren't involved in Civil War or Dark Invasion or Dark Reign or any of that shit, because they kept them separate. And they, I remember they messed up with Nova for like one issue of Secret Avengers and then corrected it.
That's right. Yeah, they did have Nova in one issue. Yeah. There was one issue of Guardians of the Galaxy, or maybe it was 2, and it kind of crossed over with Civil War because Peter had gone into the negative zone and was he ended up storming the prison that Tony and Reed had built there for the supervillains or something like that. But that was it, though.
But I was talking about, which is fine, but I'm talking like nowadays, 10 years later, you've got Thor and the Avengers. At the same time, Donny Cates has him on the other side of the universe, being Galactus's bitch, and no one cares. Yeah, they said DC has 5 Batman being in 5 places at once. No one cares. I mean, at least.
Well, that's same with Connor Kent in Green. He's in Green Lantern, but he's also in the Superman Unlimited book.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they could say, well, this it used to be. This takes place before events in But yeah, I said Marvel was very. Yeah, I said, Quesada. I said outside of his just complete screwing up Spider-Man, made a lot of really good decisions while he was editor in chief. I can't fault him.
I love how Jeremy Adams' response. I asked him, it's like, so how is Connor in your book? And he's also in the other one. He's like, ask Stan Slott. Yeah. Continuity, man. If they kept everything in continuity, it still wouldn't make things better. If all bad books are still bad books, even if they're continuity.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
I was watching Drew and Josh, and they're talking about Drew, did you read the new Spider-Man? Yep. That was something, wasn't it? Yep. Yes. That was not good. Nope. I thought maybe there's actually a good issue.
Are they on Josh's channel or are they hosting them on Wednesdays?
Yeah, they were on Pop by Culture.
Okay.
They have a thing on Thursdays called the Floppy Drop. No, yes, they are self-aware. But
that's funny.
Yeah, I'd worm my way onto that show if we weren't doing this. So that's.
Oh, I know you would. That's why we're doing this.
Because they basically do kind of the same thing. They talk about the good comics and the bad, but
sure, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of channels that do the bad comic beatdown, and like I don't want to be like one of those channels. I'd rather just talk about the good stuff,
Well, I don't mind
because I don't like when we turn in 20 minutes is bitching about things.
No, tell me if something sucks, but then tell me what I should be getting too.
Yeah.
So the bad comic beatdowns are fine if they're balanced with the good.
You might want to turn the camera off if you go drilling. You might want to turn the camera off if you go drilling.
Who said about drilling?
He's using a euphemism because he's trying to be funny.
No, I said you were digging up inside his nostril, and I was just saying,
I wasn't digging in my nostril, was I?
Yeah,
I scratched my nose here in the house.
My nose.
Yeah.
Maybe I missaw.
Maybe you do it. And that's what you think everybody else is doing.
Like this.
Yeah.
The optical illusion.
Jeff, not everyone's like you. Not everyone's a minor.
Now,
minor.
Jeff, if you like, I'll turn on my camera and all three of us will pick our noses for you if that's something that you're into.
Cool. Yeah. Let me.
No.
And
pay me a very large amount of money.
And then we'll go real close to the camera and then we'll eat it.
Oh yeah, that's a turn on.
I'm gonna go play my Switch now.
Zach like it when it's running and just pulls out straight.
Oh yes, stringy. Reminds me of.
Zach's like this ate on camera too.
I really did. I just ate. Oh my god.
A burger.
Fans.
No, my chicken wings.
Oh.
Yeah, Zach's like maybe I did. We don't have OnlyFans. Why would I want OnlyFans? Here's the other thing about OnlyFans. It's they're at this point, OnlyFans feels like Xenoscope when they went away from Cheesecake. They got fat girls on there trying to be comedians. No one wants that. Look up Bill Mantlo. He wrote a ton of stuff. Yeah, I feel like Bill Mantlo, wasn't he like the filler guy?
No, he was just.
He had good stories, but I mean, like they need a story. They called him up.
On occasion, but he wrote the vast majority, if not all, of the ROMs. He was on Team Up for a while. He was on, like I said, Hulk for years, and he's got a lot of other credits here and there as well. I'm probably missing a couple of his runs, but
yeah, I like his Rocky Raccoon and stuff, and then he and some of the stories he did with the Hulk. Pretty cool. Kind of sucks, man. I wonder how much longer he would have stayed with the company if he would have had his accident.
Yeah, that's.
And how many more Rocket Raccoon stories would we have got? Would Bill Mantlo write a Guardians of the Galaxy series?
I'm sure eventually, because but that it was Abnett and Lanning that pulled that off, but that was,
Yeah.
God, that's 25 years after
Yeah.
Malleus Mint, because I know he was, I know he was used in a Marvel preview. Prior to that, his first appearance is not Hulk 271. That's his first comic book appearance, but he was in a Marvel magazine. I think it's the one with Satana on the cover. I have it, but it's not in great shape, so it's not worth a whole lot of money. But because the first Star-Lord is in a Marvel magazine from the 70s also.
Man, so here's a question for everybody on the panel. If all the bad characters have been made, written horrible in the past, or retconned, what is the one character from Marvel and the one character from DC you would revert back to being when it was great? You can only choose one character from both companies.
So a character that's been made to be terrible.
A character that you enjoyed back then that has just been destroyed.
Marvel is super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, sorry, okay. I lapsed into pitch meeting. But I want you to think about it. The Marvel one should be easy.
Captain America.
Okay, not as easy as I thought. And good God, let's just say that based on my pick, they have a captain problem.
Oh, yeah, Danvers. Yeah, that's fair.
Danvers. I still say because I'm biased towards Spider-Man. I'll go with Spider-Man.
Of course you are.
Well,
let's say that. If you didn't, honestly, I'd be shocked.
But here's the thing, though. A good writer could come along and make Spider-Man great again in an issue. The right writer could do that with Captain America. No one is ever going to be allowed to make Ms. Marvel again, and that's
how would you do it though? Would you do it the way that Bob Layton did with Jean?
No, it's just.
I mean, like, would you just write a
no? She just. I would ever wake up one morning and say, "This is fucking stupid. I'm Ms. Marvel."
I was happier when I was running a newspaper and doing.
You know what I'd say? Like, and so I'd be like, Carol goes up to her and it's like, "Well, no, you're a filthy inhuman. You can't be Miss Marvel."
I mean, she looks in the mirror and goes, "Hey, remember when you weren't a fucking bitch?"
Dark Animal says Man-Thing.
What is it? Man, they haven't done anything with Man-Thing to like make him terrible, have they?
I've just never seen the appeal Man-Thing. He's just the Marvel version of Swamp Thing.
No, he's not. No. He's not even.
He might have different powers, but he's the same guy. He gets turned into a monster.
He's like a walking allegory, or if I'm not using the right word, but he's basically they build stories around him that he's just kind of there because he basically has no mind of his own.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't see the appeal to him. I prefer Swamp Thing.
Oh, no, that's the thing. Yeah. There's Swamp Thing isn't necessarily, oh man.
What's that?
Yeah, the stick isn't working.
Oh,
you can make your own jokes there, but
I see.
There we go. Okay, cool. It's good to have options. I couldn't get a picture on the game I was watching, so I had to find another feed. For the 600 people that are still at PNC Park after a 4-hour rain delay.
Jeez.
But as far as DC, I'm tempted to say Harley Quinn. Just take her back to her origins, or hell, even her first series.
I kind of feel like she is.
Because I don't know what this is. This is not. I mean, it's cosplay fanfic.
Who is the most butchered character, Tim Drake or Harley Quinn?
Well, the most butch is
it's Ivy.
no, the Tim Drake. Obviously, that's that's a different discussion. Pick a Drake from either company and reset
right?
sexualities.
Dark Week Duck, better watch out.
Well, I was gonna say
Starfire.
I would say Frank Drake, better be worried. Yeah, well, Starfire is a victim of mainstream, the new rules that hamper mainstream comics, where for whatever inexplicable reason, women just can't be overtly sexy at Marvel or DC.
Yeah, but that rule is because other women get offended. It's just like in real life.
Well,
nobody hates pretty women like other women.
Right. Well, it's the unintended consequences of taking a hobby for boys and giving it to fat, may or may not be lesbians.
Well, my question
who
is,
don't like pretty women.
My question is, why don't we get the Leah Williams Exterminators version of her doing the Birds of Prey?
I don't even need her on Birds of Prey. I just need her to do Starfire.
Well, I'm saying Birds of Prey
Titans
with Ed Benez art style back in the day. Now imagine you take the Leah Williams Exterminators, that quality of that, and put it on that book, and it would probably sell better instead of being a feminist book.
Look, there's both companies know damn well there are so many things they could do differently that they would sell better overall. Rage quit.
Yeah, I blocked them.
Okay,
I'm not addressing it.
all right.
A troll.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that they know they can do different, but they're not going to, because whether they're terrified of the 12 Psychos on Twitter, or that they agree with the 12 Psychos on Twitter, or just for whatever reason, there are things you could pick any Marvel or DC comic, and within 5 minutes we could come up with something that would make the book sell better. Some wouldn't take more than 5 seconds. Obviously,
I would disagree.
Spider-Man.
I
Put
would
the marriage back. Done.
Yeah. DC. Let's get rid of some of these horrible artists. Let's fire everybody who was in that Pride book. All that horrible art, we didn't need you. It was a waste of money. I'd be focusing more on getting back the good artists, bringing back Ed Benez. Can we get Jim Ballant back on a Catwoman book, ongoing? Bring in the better writers. We have right now. We have Williamson, Mark, Wade, and Adams are the top 3 writers at the series DC.
Here's your problem. You think it's the writers. It is the editors that you have to change. Somebody brought up earlier today, it came out today, Al Ewing hates Paul from Spider-Man. He does not think that he and Mary Jane should be together. But he writes Paul because Nick Lowe is in charge, and Nick Lowe says you got to have Paul in your book.
Wait a minute, but he doesn't think they should be together.
Al Ewing does not like Paul, says that he and Mary Jane should not be a couple.
That Paul and Mary Jane.
Paul and Mary Jane.
Okay, yeah. Well, Al Ewing's a prick.
He is, but he's right about this.
Yeah, he is.
Here's the thing, though, is that the reason we see the writers are the big problems is not just editors, but the writers virtue signal this shit.
That's why you get better editors, so that they can correct that and say, hey, you don't need this in your book. Edit it out.
I feel like even with better editors, they would still, these writers wouldn't be able to write a good story without.
Well, then your editor fires them and gets a replacement. The editor is the boss. The editor is in charge over the writers. That's why Jim Shooter, everybody hated him because he was in charge and he told the writers what they could and couldn't.
He was editor in chief.
Yeah. Editor. The first word of that is editor. That's my point. If you change the editors, it affects the writing, though. Doesn't matter the writer if they're virtue signally or whatever. The editor has final say on what gets printed.
But I'll say right now at the big 2, I can think of one writer who is legitimately outstanding, who doesn't seem to have designs on having a creator-owned character get him to Hollywood.
Yep.
And can you tell me who that is?
Jeremy Adams.
Yes, sir.
He's already been to Hollywood. That's where he came from.
Yeah, but I said he's
but he actually has a passion for the characters.
Right, but what he
but
didn't do out there is peddle a creator-owned character.
Right.
So he's a superstar, should be considered a superstar writer that wants to be in the industry. And I don't fault Mark Miller's moved on. He achieved a dream.
So speaking of that Mark Miller interview with Rob Liefeld, Rob Liefeld is saying he wants to do a Superman story.
I think he is once the golden age gets the public.
Yes, once it goes public,
public
he said he wants to do that. Which,
interesting.
at this point, I'm interested to see what he would do. But I mean, I'm also like, and when a character goes in the public domain, it doesn't you can't call it Superman.
No, you can.
I don't think you can. Can you?
He was called Superman in the Golden Age, wasn't he?
I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, you could take the likeness, I guess, of that original, and do something with it. But I don't think you can really. So
yeah, how many DC fans could you please with de-aging John Kent and giving Tim Drake his heterosexuality back and putting him back together with Stephanie?
You know what I'd rather have? I'd rather have revealed that they're all like imposters, and then have like Tim and Bauer. Hey, Jason, can I borrow your crowbar and just beat the shit out of it and keep murdering?
Well, what they seriously what they could do is Tim has been a Clayface all along,
Huh?
and
Yes.
the real John Kent is still on that planet.
Yeah.
And they sent back whatever it was he is. And that Clark was just so happy to have his son back that he never bothered to use his X-ray vision or whatever to. But again, never going to happen. Just like Bobby Drake is never not going to be cartoonishly gay because that's this over this need to have representation. And and they're not doing it really for for gays. They're doing it for those 12 psychos that seem to make all the rules. So like I said, I mean, just listening to Josh trash the Pride issue for 10 minutes, and it makes it so like I asked a question: how gay do you have to be for that? How gay do you have to be to have liked that book? Because I mean, it was so on the nose, and so I said, clanual meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and somebody thought that was clever, and whatever editor
Again,
mind of that.
That's it. If you had a better editor, they wouldn't have said, "No, this joke is dumb. Don't put this in there."
Well, I'll be honest, the editors probably wouldn't have jobs either.
Yeah.
Because like I said, they're I said when I started reading comics, the editors were the writers, and there was a checks and balances system. Hello, Rogue.
Yep.
Where
That's
they said
from this one.
Len Wein would have been the editor of books Jerry Conway was writing, and Steve Englehart would be the editor of a book that Len was writing. So nowadays they're 22-year-old Pop-Tarts that flash their boobies in front of Jordan White.
This is what they took from us.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot that she was dating Simon in this Wonder Man.
Yep.
Dang. Good book series. Oh yeah, this is also back when A-Rod was doing the gut milk.
Yep. Yeah. Brian Reed wrote all 50 issues.
Yep.
So yeah, the best. You know who hasn't written a single issue of Captain Marvel?
Brian Reed.
A man. Period. Not one.
Does she even have an ongoing anymore? For
Not
about a year now.
Nope.
Nothing I'm aware of.
12 tries and you're out.
Wow. literally you could put a guy in there and on that book. And I'm not saying Steve Orlando. I said a guy. And I think that it would sell.
But the reality is, no straight white man is allowed to write women. Period.
Because you
At the
make
big
women
two.
look like sexual objects. Well, gee, women do that to guys all the time.
It's
You know,
so like I said, that's why I'm appreciative of the good comics we have now. But and it's probably just as well because I couldn't afford to buy comics the way I did 15 years ago.
Fair.
But I mean, because I said, when during Dark Reign, I might have been buying 40 Marvel comics a month because every miniseries was must read. All the main titles, except for Spider-Man, were must read, and some of the Spider-Mans were, when they would tie in, were must reads. But yeah, it's just how far Marvel has fallen in 15 years is, it shouldn't have been possible. But then I think about it, there are teams that win championships that win 2 games 10 years later. So I guess it is possible to fall that far.
pretty much. Getting that way. Like all I know is it's getting harder and harder to track down the issues that I need. I'm probably I need like less than 6 now issues I have left to collect, and I'll have the whole run.
Well, there's always Buddy Saunders.
Yep.
You know who that is, are you?
No, tell me.
That's the guy that runs oh God, what's it called? Good Lord, I ordered from him. He used to be Mile High, not Mile High. He used to be
my comic shop?
My comic shop, yeah.
Yeah. No.
I said I still order like once or twice a year from there, but
yeah, Jackson Roykirk does that too.
Yeah.
So he's always talking about, and then I think Jay started ordering from it too as well.
Well, I mean, sometimes you. Well, I said
I use it as a
I like to get close to the. I like to find the majority of a title in the wild.
Yeah.
When I get down to the last couple, then like calling for a reliever. You call in my comic shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, Henry, you're right. The Jim Shooter run on the Avengers is as good as anybody's, if not better.
I'm trying to think as far as I think I'm gonna start. I'm collecting the Kurt Busiek Avengers. I'm gonna start reading those.
That's a good run.
Was it is it Earth Mightiest Heroes they did Avengers?
Yeah, it started in 1998. It came after Heroes Return. It was good, but it was early. It had like the earliest indications of SJW.
Do you feel like Disney?
No, it was pre-Disney.
Okay.
But it definitely had it got a head start on the virtue signaling that would eventually become all pervasive. But I'm not saying it wasn't a good series.
Yeah.
It was. But if I were going to read 70 or 80 Avengers, I would go with Roger Stern's run in the 200s because he was.
Roger Stern has
excellent.
proved to be one of my just top favorite writers. Anything he writes has just been like gold, and I read it.
Like I said, his Avengers were great. His Spider-Mans were great.
The Kid
Peter
collected
Parker.
Spider-Man, the whole Superman story with Alice. It's
the Superman stuff was outstanding.
Yeah. What's up, Homelander, who's watching us on Twitch? What's up? So yeah, like I said, there's quite a few characters I want to start collecting and get into them. I mean, I'm not when I say like collecting, I'm not serious. Like I'm not gonna go out and go look like if they're at my shops, I'll get them there. I don't want to order off of eBay mainly because I don't want to deal with all that stuff. You know,
I don't mind. There's some issues I've gotten through.
I
Even.
feel like I'm paying more for a book that's probably $1 book, and then I feel like they're raising the price for $5, and then you pay it, and you're paying shipping on top of that. You know,
Well, like I
I
said,
mean, honestly, you find great books for $1. You find bad books for $1. I mean, the dollar book really just depends on the seller's, like how bad they just want to get rid of how much space the book is taking up. Honestly,
well, there's
I
also
found great books for $1.
if you're not
Books
if
that
you're
should
not a
have been 5 or
stickler for
$10.
condition, you know, you can go and look up like a particular issue of a book, and there might be 15 choices, and
Yeah.
I've found that by their grading, hell, anything above a 2 is fine. I'm fine with. You know, my friend Jerry, he needs them to be damn near factory mint.
you know,
Not me.
Yeah, I know.
if it has dog ears, I don't care. I'll read it.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
You know,
I've only been burned. I've
you know what I
had
mean by dog ears, Zach?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Are they look
Dog ear
confused?
my books when I'm reading.
Yeah.
I've had twice, I think, where books have been missing pages, and I ordered one that was in way worse shape than I thought it was going to be.
Speaking of missing pages, that Ultimate Spider-Man book he had, they said there was missing pages from the manufacturer.
Mine wasn't. I saw yours, but mine wasn't. There was a typo in it, though. I did notice a typo in there.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. As the sign says, like, you can buy it now and then just bring it in when we get the new ones, and you can swap it out. And I was just laughing. It's like, really, Marvel? You're delivering books that are missing pages?
I mean, I think you're always. I mean, what? There was a Flash issue back when Adams was on the book.
It shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't, but it does.
But all the technology they have is just, and like we're all getting on Diamond, how Diamond's bad. It's like this comes right from the actual publisher.
Right.
Yeah, it's. I understand accidents happen, but they shouldn't. You know, and
anything that has human beings.
It just makes me think. It just makes me think that like the person who caused that problem is probably not gonna get fired because they don't care. Because they know people are gonna buy it regardless. And anything, these are now more. They're more valuable 20 years from now. These are the ones that are missing pages. Yeah, the Marvel No Prize. Heck, if I want to get a Marvel book with missing pages, I'll go get that. What was that? Avengers like 6. They had at my shop, but it was missing a couple pages. And they wanted like $60 for it. Yeah.
I like when I have good timing. Turned over to Fallon just in time to see Sydney Sweeney walk out.
Yes, more Sydney Sweeney. Can we get her as Miss Marvel?
She wouldn't fit. Yvonne Strahovski or Katie Sackhoff?
What do you mean she wouldn't
Katie
fit?
Sackhoff's too old.
Yeah.
No, you're right. She is too old now.
It says Yvonne Strahovski.
Yvonne Strahovski.
Honestly, I was gonna say, like, if you want to get actual good actress that's still young enough to do it, is the chick from Vikings. She could be she could either be Miss Marvel or she could be Black Canary. Yeah, she was the lead chick and a woman in Vikings. Here's really good. I forgot her name is, but Katie Sackhoff though is that when she was on Arrow, she was even old then. She looked cringe. She was alright in Book of 10 because she was like a veteran, you know, whatever. But yeah, it's no thanks. It's like B. Arthur trying to pass off as like, you know, is Kitty Pryde.
B. Arthur.
Well, back when she's alive, you know. Yeah.
Your mind goes some strange places.
It really do, though. It really do.
And that's why the channel to bring you along into this wonderful journey into my mind.
Zoinks.
Front roll. Eric Brandy, do you have books with missing covers? Because you read the hell out of them. Also, recall, stacking your books and making a leaning tower reverse the spine so it doesn't fall.
Yeah, that's If you're not going to bag or board them, that's always a good trick. And if you're ever at a shop, if you're ever at a sale that is selling them by the long or short boxes, if you reverse every couple, you can fit more in.
I thought it just keeps it flat to Boeing because I know it leans like that. I think it's just not good for the book.
Yeah, the same thing, but if all the spines are on one side, you can't fit as many as if you reverse. Yeah, I guess optimally if you reversed every other one, but if you just like stack them, like maybe like a handful and then reverse.
Yeah, I've never put in a box loose like that. Well, I have. I can take it back. I did it with those of my Spider-Mans back in the day when I first got those 600s. The only ones that actually that survived was those J. Scott Campbell's by
I don't do that with my personal collection, but I said, so if I'm in a sale that's selling them, as much as you can cram into a long or short box. Yeah, you can definitely fit more in. Obviously, bagged.
Thank you,
unbagged are even better.
Yeah.
But
thank you there again. Well, Catherine Winnick, I was thinking of. She's a decent looking woman and also a good actress too. She was most recently in Wu Assassins, and I forgot what else she was in after that.
Zach, what game are you playing there?
Oh, no, I'm scrolling through Twitter.
You're addicted to Twitter.
No, just
You're like, what's Jay posting in the sports ball now? That's gonna trigger me.
Jay didn't post anything in sports ball that triggers me.
Oh yeah, I know, Henry. When I started, I used to keep mine in a metal filing cabinet because I don't know that long boxes had been invented yet either. Because it was mid-70s.
One time, I didn't say it's like there's long boxes. Any box, like short box.
Yeah,
if you want to.
It's like I said, if you're using a box, period. Yeah, if you reverse the spines, because I didn't have bags or boards.
I've never reversed the spines though, even when I had them loose. So I just never thought about that.
I didn't have a long box. Golly, I think I'd been reading and collecting for like 10 years before I had a long box.
But if you think about it, if you stack a bunch of unbagged or boarded books together, it will eventually, bow. And so it was more so when books were newsprint without the pre-glossy colors or covers. I mean,
yeah, I love the newsprint. Honestly, I wish they'd go back to that. It'd probably be cheaper.
How many of those bags did you have?
Some of the independents are doing newsprint.
Some of them do. I think, what is it, Alterna Comics? I think they do newsprint.
Yeah. Breen, how many bags did you have to replace? The ones that had the acid bags back in the day when they came out?
Oh, I started over about 12 years ago, so those bags were long gone by then.
Yeah.
As far as
I remember half-price books in the just before Iron Man came out, the MCU, before everything raised in price at half-price books, so now they became full-price books.
But I've seen some. I had, when I would go through long boxes that hadn't been touched by the sellers, they've been sitting around for decades. They were all stuck together, and they were nasty.
Oh yeah, the bags. Yeah, I've come across that too, and I even bought some of them. Ian's like, can you just change the bags? I'll give you 20 cents more, or 25 cents for a bag, because I don't want them here you go, and just kind of sticks, and you pull it apart. It's just
I've seen some videos of people they'll go to a garage sale, and they'll find these really old collections, and they're pulling them out, and these bags, and there's this kind of sickening peeling sound as they're pulling them apart. You're like, oh God, just
no. But anyway, like I said, I don't think I've gone to even garage sale. Now I think about it, the last garage sale I went to was in the 90s. I just never. First of all, I don't carry cash with me too, and I just don't like my neighbors.
Last summer I went out driving over a weekend to try and find a bunch of garage sales to see if they had comics. None of the places I had Yeah, I just gave up.
Yeah.
There was a garage sale across the street from me, from my mom's house, and they just had one box. It was a long box full of war comics. Sold it to me for $40. It was all
Nice.
shit from the 70s.
Yeah,
That was glorious.
I don't even want to go to garage sales now because everybody thinks that every book as $1 is now worth $20.
Yeah, well, people that are selling them like the garage sale where they treat it like a comic book store. Yeah, it's not really worth it. But there was that guy that found that Detective 27 at a yard sale for like $1. Yeah,
What condition was it in?
it doesn't matter.
No, you're right. That is kind of a dumb question, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm just not. I don't want to haggle with people and just like I know the garage sale we're gonna have those boxes. We're gonna all be on the sun. So by the time you get there, oh, why is this comic book so faded? Because you had a freaking the sun.
Do you ever watch Strange Life's videos?
What's called?
Captain Strange Life?
Once in a while. The last one I saw was the one he got that box he got from the dude in Arizona.
Did you see because he and Leo both did videos on this guy at a barber shop up there.
Okay.
Has a comic book swap meet every year. And it's really a cool idea.
I've been to swap meets, but never for comic books. They're
What
usually like tractor parts and all that stuff. Cars.
What caught my eye was, since they live in Chicago,
yeah,
there's a band from Chicago called the Smoking Popes. And one of them had a poster the guy had a poster on the wall.
That's cool.
Going down to the basement.
That's funny too.
I'm pretty safe in assuming that Hans and Leo had no idea who they were. But it was very cool. I mean, and they picked up some good stuff.
Yeah. Henry is asking me about the metal sign. You talking about the one behind me?
I'll be right back.
That one right there? I don't know. Never and what issue? I never really cared. I just saw it was really cool art. I mean, I thought maybe it was Andrew or Amita Senior. Yeah. No, I actually it doesn't even say. It's a 15-cent. It actually says no. It's from issue 15. It says August. So I have to look that up. Probably Ditko. If it's issue 15. But no, I just grabbed it because it was like old school, like looking Spidey. I will not like exclude like a sign because like if I don't like a certain artist, unless it's Romita Jr. or newer stuff. But Spidey's always been drawn classic. Yeah. But since John Buscema from issue 78, I know it's not. It is. Look that up actually. What's going on Twitter? Is Elon still fighting with Trump?
No. I'm actually looking at this cool thing. Apparently, Tom Cruise did hit like one of his big stunts. He did like 16 times, which is jumping out of a plane and setting his parachute on fire. He did that 16 times. I think the man just has a death wish. I think he just wants to die making a movie.
He wants to go meet Xenu.
I think so. That is absolutely insane.
I think he's just committed to actually just making the stunt look cool.
Oh, no, I think he is, but I also think he's committed to dying in a really cool way.
I mean...
When Top Gun 3 comes out, watch, he'll do something insane for Top Gun 3.
He's just having fun.
Yeah. I don't think lighting a parachute on fire when you're free falling is fun, but to each their own. To each their own. Well, guys, it is a little after 11 o'clock here for me. I am going to go ahead and call it a night. I have
I just want to get that 3 hour mark because the longer we're on, the more people are watching us continually. the more money goes towards our AdSense stuff.
Is that really how it works?
That's how it works out, pretty much. Yeah, the more people watching, the more watch time we have here itself.
But don't. So I've heard that when you do streams or videos, if they're longer than like 15, 20 minutes, you don't get as many people viewing. Like if
Wow,
you
most people, unless you're like Logan Paul or like their PewDiePie and stuff, visual stuff, you get or if you're not that popular yet, like you'll get like 30 seconds. They click on and click off.
Mm-hmm.
I know Wes has been doing this for a while. Every time I go, Wes goes live on Sunday. I'm just like, wow, he's in the triple digits. it's like I wish I could get that, but obviously I'm
consistency is a large key.
But
yeah, and his numbers aren't as big as they were. I mean, he was getting close to 4. Now it's a little over 3. But he's been doing it for years. So I mean, he's
established. He's got a format people like. He sticks to it. All right.
He's been doing basically the same thing for 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm. Admo said, I resubscribed. Apparently, I've been unsub to this channel. Okay. Well, thank you for resubbing. I had no idea. Because a lot of people, that's the thing too. People like when they subscribe to stuff, their descriptions, like what they're subscribed to, is private. So I don't know. I only see the people who have like their like willy nilly don't care. Like you can see everything I'm sub to. So,
by the way, Coco's getting a little bit too comfortable here. she's sleeping on the couch, and I went to get her midnight snack, and she used to go to the chair that I give them to her on. Now she just doesn't even bother to move.
How dare she do
I
that?
know.
That's how cats are, man.
It's
I know.
outrage.
It is. Time to sell her.
She had a good run.
That's right.
What do you mean? She didn't have a run at all. She had a good sleep.
Good sleep. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Good Lord. Some giant 18-wheeler fell into a drainage canal down in New Orleans. Insane.
Says some voodoo right there.
No, just somebody who doesn't know how to drive a trailer.
I'm trying to look.
That's why they do classes on that.
It's I'm trying to see. He said like the sign back there. He's looking through 78. I'm looking through it. The opening page is different. It's not the same, so it must be from a different part.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go fall asleep playing my Switch or watching Phineas and Ferb. So
wait a minute, they're not. The new ones aren't out, are they?
No, I'm getting caught up on the originals before the new ones come out.
I was talking to a friend of mine today that he's like career fed, so he's my age, but he's been a grown up, unlike me.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain Phineas and Ferb to him, telling him he needs to watch one because I wanted to quote Dr. Doofenshmirtz, but I go, you don't know who I'm talking about, do you? He goes, nope.
My brother bought a shirt today of Dr. Doofenshmirtz. It just says Doof, but it's in like heavy metal looking font. And it's pretty great. No, I saw the episode, and it's not even any dialogue, just the way it's drawn. It's Perry and Doofenshmirtz, and they're fighting in a car wash. And the way they have Perry, they have like one of the giant rollers is coming down and is about to hit Doofenshmirtz. And the way Perry just like ducks over like Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, I just started crying laughing. Very, very clever.
Yeah, I was digging the takeover themes.
It's so good. It's so good.
I'm ready for more.
It's so good. I think of Jimmy every time he sees that.
Oh my gosh. Aren't you a little young to be a roller coaster construction worker?
Yes, we are.
So you're I heard you saying the sign behind me for those that are. Let me maximize myself here so you can see that. So right above me and here, He's saying that is this, but they changed the head though for the sign. It is it, but the head's changed. Behind me, it's straight up. They moved the head and they also reversed it. So yeah, it looks like it. So they just basically someone altered John Buscema's at work for that thing. But
well, I'm thinking we should probably bid this evening adieu.
It did. Yes.
We're welcome to hour 4.
Yeah. What am I gonna do for Saturday? There's no collision. Is there a game on?
Hockey.
Oh, that's why.
Fucking hockey.
I'm going to be playing the new Mario Kart all day Saturday and eating pizza from my favorite pizza place.
Going to church with my family, then watching wrestling.
Yeah.
You go to church on Saturday?
Oh, yeah, that's it. And there's also a WWE pay-per-view.
match.
So.
Oh, all right. So, real quickly, when is John Cena retiring? Next year?
End of the year, yeah.
End of the year?
Yeah, he's got to devote all of his time to Peacemaker now.
Well, no, he's devoting all his time now to ruining wrestling.
Yeah.
That's his character now. He's a bad guy.
Oh, that, because he turned heel.
My brother said John Cena is the best WWE character right now.
He probably is.
Yeah. He's like, up at this point, didn't care for Cena, but Cena's eyes like, yeah, the other Cena sucks chance, fuck you. And like, I love it. He's just like total heel, and this like shattered kids, like they're like,
yeah, well, they, it's
like Hogan going to NWO.
Well, that's what they like.
But worse though. This is worse than Hogan.
Right. Well, but again, everybody knows that when the cameras aren't rolling, he's still visiting Make-A-Wish kids. And now that might be some of them might have trouble understanding that, but
yeah.
And I'm not trying to be funny, but
the latest rumor is that Triple H might be replaced in next 10 8 months because he's not doing well with creative.
18 months. No, I think what might happen is TKO might decide that all they need to do is find a bunch of catchphrases and just basically have a bunch of trained SEALs.
Right.
It won't happen. But
somebody's like, we'll put Triple H will go, and then we'll put Shawn Michaels in charge.
No, it's not that. Levesque doesn't get along with Dwayne Johnson.
Yep.
They don't like each other a whole lot in real life.
Yeah, they've never gotten along for the longest time.
TKO, if they have to choose, they're choosing Dwayne.
Yep.
Who has no interest in devoting anything close to full time to it. So that would be a mistake.
And then guess who wins in the long run? AEW. All right. Right there. If you guys haven't done so, for those who are new watching over on Twitch, and those who if there's anybody watching on Twitch, I think I'm the only one. But we are a YouTube-based channel, and basically, if you want to go to @Geeky Puppet Show, it's right here above me. Those are both the same URL. So if you're on Twitch or on YouTube, those are on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Check out the Ko-Fi link, which is right over there. And drop $1 or $2 in there. Help us goes towards the channel. Basically helps keeps the lights on. Helps keep Jeff here for once a week. We pay him to stay away. And then so we'll see you tomorrow.
Well, then that old saying, it's in the mail. The mail's doing a really bad job.
That's what she said.
Yes, she did.
I get
tomorrow night, only one reading, and Sunday might be only one reading too. X Factor's pretty long, so
it's double issue. So yeah, that probably makes more sense to only do one.
Yeah. So you're gonna get X-Men Nights from Jim Lee Claremont, issue number 1 for tomorrow night. Jay said he was gonna jump in there to help us out too. So
cool.
And maybe Marania. Marania's been having internet issues. She said she may or may not. So, but and then Saturday morning, our last Robin Hood Adventures from Walt Disney, issue number 7. It'll be airing in the morning around 8:05, or actually 9:05 Eastern for you guys on the East Coast. And then we have our Ninja Turtles, one of the part issue 3 or part 3 of the band issues, because Winnie the Pooh does not like the fact that they're against communism in that book, and also the Dalai Lama is turned into an actual llama. Yes. And then Sunday week X Factor. So we got a lot of cool stuff up. And on Monday we got our Monday Night Titans, Teen Titans Go. A lot of cool stuff, man. I wish Zach would just come back to the channel more often. You know, it's getting the time of summer, man. You know, it's slowing down for his job. He's not as busy as he was before.
That's not true. I've got 4 meetings in the next 6 days, and I've got my recertification test coming up that I have to do. Summertime is recertification season, so
I think you just make excuses not to show up.
you're on to me.
I've been on to you this whole time. I know what you do.
Then you know I'm going to be around a lot less.
That's okay. The only one complaint will be Celeste.
What are you
All right.
talking about? The stream is never going to end.
I know. It's been like 20 minutes now.
It's just like that lamb chop song.
Oh gosh, lamb chop. Thanks
All
for
right.
that. I remember that.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Keep it sleazy.
Adios.
Later, skaters.
See you later.